Hey, are we live? I think we are live. Hey everybody, how you doing? How's your week been going? So we're gonna have a great time tonight. We've been talking about the Shudder to Think reunion tour. We've been talking about the Numero group and other things that we can't broadcast. It's gonna be a great show. Thanks for tuning in. Old school crew. Let's not go into how this came about. Cursed episode, but happy to be with you guys again. Matthias, Ebro, Jeff, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Happy to be fourth tier.
The last one's picked.
Oh no, there are plenty more. If you
okay. We're like the middle. Yeah,
middle, mid tier.
Yeah, we're mid tier.
All right, enough of that. Let's do the old let's do the old housekeeping before we get going. Like and subscribe, help us out, all that good stuff. Can't do any harm. I'm going to apologize in advance. I've got a stinking cold, but I think I'm all right. The show must go on, and I've got some German medicine.
You sound great, nice and smoky, you know.
Yeah, smoky medicine from Germany to help me out. If anyone's new to watching what we do here, we've each got 5 records, or maybe a couple more that we've been listening to. We're going to have a great time, like nerding out about what we listen to, and have a great time talking about some good records, and have a good time, good couple of hours respite from the horrible planet that we find ourselves living on in the modern age.
Yeah, I need something.
Right, exactly. Okay, let's get going. But before we start, I've got a first. This has happened before. I got a request to wish happy birthday to someone. How about that? It's like a real radio show. It's
totally. Like a long distance.
Right. So, happy birthday to Roger in Argentina.
All right, Roger.
Yeah. He's a regular viewer. There you go. Cheers, Roger. He's probably not watching now. He'll probably see this tomorrow, and it'll be the best birthday he's ever had. I've just wished him happy birthday. Cheers, Roger from Argentina. If anyone else wants to send in a birthday request, feel free, and I'll do it live on air.
A long distance dedication.
No charge.
Yeah.
You have no idea how this is tying in very perfectly to one of my picks, but we'll get there.
Oh. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm sure everyone else has been doing the same, but I've been looking at my best of 2025. It's that time, right? It's almost October. We're starting to think about our end of year list. If you do that, and you know what? I think I don't really have too much ripping hardcore on my list at the moment. It's a lot of kind of more melodic stuff, this, that, and the other. But this one is absolutely 100% going to go on my list of best of 2025. I just got it last week, courtesy of Daniel Lupton at Sorry State Records. It was one of the records that he sent in his care package. The dumbest band in hardcore.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. I thought we trademarked that.
What they call themselves, but I think it's a bit tongue in cheek. I don't think this is. I'm talking about the illiterates.
Well,
does not compute. I know, man. It takes quite a bit to get me super excited about a ripping US hardcore record. I think there's something special going on here. The huge production certainly helps. It's super well produced, big fat production. I like the first LP. I think I prefer this quite a bit more. They've got a new guitarist. There's a little bit of guitar noodling going on, but man,
more noodling,
not too much. Just a little bit of noodling. But it's been a while since I've done a short, sharp shock. But man, I've been playing this to death. It's like I said, I'm quite strict when it comes to sort of meat and potatoes or straight ahead US hardcore. But this is a real face melter. And of course, I don't know, man, it kind of sounds like Youth of Today at some.
Oh shit! Right on.
And the vocals, but it's it's not the Youth of Today that we know. It's more kind of Youth of Today on PCP, or straight ahead on Japanese Taxi Driver Speed, or I have a bunch of these. I can keep going with these, but Chain of Strength on Mad Dog 2020. That actually might have happened, but
that probably happened.
So it's like 20 cats fighting instead of just 2.
Right.
Well, it's like the really like clear, beefy production really works for this band, I think.
Where are they from?
From Pittsburgh, right? Pittsburgh.
Right on. Okay. Yeah, no, I've heard the name and seen the record, but I haven't listened to it yet. So
this is probably my favorite hardcore punk record of the year.
Yeah, right on.
So far, top-notch recommendation. Any inside information about this record, Jeff? Any story state like?
I don't know about the record specifically, but have you solved the word search yet?
The word search? God, no, I haven't even.
Okay, so there's a poster insert and it's a giant word search.
I don't seem to have that.
Are you kidding?
No. Daniel, what are you doing? Well, I was going to say, that's funny you mentioned that, because I was going to say, does everybody get like these promo sheets? You know, when you order, I did get the promo sheets, but I didn't get the word search.
Maybe Daniel was doing the word search, and so he forgot to put it in your copy or whatever. So
Man.
Maybe the word search raised the shipping price $45. So
it was like,
no word search for you.
And added an extra $100 onto it.
Wow. Amazing. Yeah, this is absolutely killer record. As per usual, when it comes to like this kind of hardcore, I'm kind of stuck to really know what to say about it. It's just a ripping, blazing, ferocious US hardcore record.
Cool.
So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely check it out. Sorry State Records 2025.
Cool.
There you go. Short and sweet, like this record.
Yeah.
All
right. Matthias's birthday from Argentina related.
I'm not going to get to that one just yet. But,
all right.
I'm gonna. So this is a 2025 record too. I think someone on here before said something like Lungfish is the closest I've ever come to religion. I think that was in a chat on one of these one time, which I thought was pretty hilarious. So this band I can't really talk about without making the Lungfish comparison a little bit, because I think a lot of people will make that. I think it's fair, but I don't know if it's necessarily completely fair to stop at that comparison. But this is 2025. It's on, I think the record label is like Felta or something like that. They're a ambient atmospheric label for the most part. I don't really know much on there. They put out this band Ganser that Wrong Wars played with it once, and then actually they put out a Film School record, which is Justin, who is in Ottawa and current with this band, with the drummer of Shudder to Think, actually. But these are a Northern California band, kind of by way of 90s Florida. A couple members are in that band, Don Martin 3, or I think that's what they're called, right? Yeah, Don Martin 3. The Vulture Feather LP.
Wow.
This is their second LP. They also have a 10-inch EP. It's called It Will Be Like Now, and it's recorded and probably mixed by Tim Green of Nation of Ulysses. It's the obvious comparison is Lungfish, musically at least. It's very kind of minimalistic but driving. It's maybe kind of got some dashes of like a Pinback or something like that thrown in it too. Vocally, I would say it's pretty different than Lungfish, like in fact very different than Lungfish, and it's a little stark kind of like comparison. If you're like, oh, I'm listening to the first 2 minutes of music, it sounds a lot like Lungfish, the vocals kick in, and it's a very different experience. But it's like chiming harmonic kind of guitars, like really kind of downstrokey repetitive stuff with just like a really good bass and drum section. It's a little, transcendental or whatever you want to say at times, with just like a real solid, less is more kind of approach to everything, but it's super powerful sounding. And I've listened to this a bunch. My friend Vince from Cross Control turned me on to it. You know, he's like, have you heard this? It's incredible. Watch a few videos. They have a bunch of videos like on YouTube, like both live and actually for a song of this first song on this record. It's called Blood Knot, and the videos for it's really good and the song is incredible. So like it kind of hooked me. And then I mean, maybe it took me like a few listens to like kind of get over like wanting to hear like the Higgs voice with the music. And but I've listened to this record a ton, like over the past like several months. And this they had another LP before this, and then like a 10-inch that's got like 4 or 5 songs on it also. So as far as I know, they're still active. I mean, this just came out like early in the year, I want to say.
Yeah. So where are they located at? Like where are they from?
Like Northern California, like up by Redwood or something, I think now. But I think it's 2 guys from Don Martin, 3 from Florida. I'm not sure who the third or 3 piece. Yeah, I mean, I've really enjoyed it. I think they were also in a band out of like the Baltimore area called Wilderness, like in the early 2000s. Not familiar with that band, but I guess it's kind of a similar vibe from what I was reading about. It might be worth checking out. So, but yeah, it's cool. Lyrically and stuff, it's right up my alley. It's like a little esoteric, but also kind of like rooted in something real. And like, yeah, it's cool. I really like it, and look forward to them either maybe catching them live or see if they put something else out in the near future. So
cool.
Good name too.
yeah, good band name. Yeah. I try not to mention Lungfish again. I've been trying to get back. I've been trying to get into Lungfish.
Oh,
again.
Yeah. Again, or like
again.
So you were into them and then you got out of them.
No, I've kind of tried a few times over the years.
You just never. Yeah, I mean, I get like the first album, like I've always liked or whatever the necklace of heads or whatever the fuck it's called, like that, and then some of the other stuff. Like I dig it now, but it took me a minute to kind of, But again, it's like when a lot of the shit, like especially like 90s Discord shit was coming out, like I wanted fucking hardcore. I wanted like, like, outside of a very few bands that kind of like it would hit me. But like now I can dig it in my old age or whatever. No, I'm just like no, but I like it more than when back then and shit. Right. So
I never didn't like Lungfish.
I'm not saying like I didn't catch.
I would say, Mike, like I would like last time I was on or whatever, talking about that Sweet Jesus record, and you're asking if it sounded like Swiz or Red Hair. It's got the same kind of vibe, right?
Okay.
Like this kind of does the same sort of thing for like that Lungfish sound, I think, in a way. But I feel bad just comparing them to that because they are definitely kind of their own thing. But you could tell that like they definitely like took a clue from there, no doubt. But
Jeff, do you ever get into Lungfish or that kind of stuff?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. So, like, is Lungfish one of those bands who, like, people who are into Lungfish, they're like Lungfish people? Are they kind of like a cultish kind of thing?
I would call them a lifestyle band.
Yeah, because they have like so many records, so it seems like if you're like on board with them, you kind of like ride the fucking,
Yeah, I'd say that's accurate, and I think I wrote that for them. For me, they're like I used to do a lot of driving between Michigan and Detroit, and they were like my car band. Like I would just because you could literally listen to like Lungfish for 5 hours and never repeat a song, right? So,
well, I think that, and I mean they do kind of have like their own thing going on, so it's like either you're kind of down with it or not, and it, and I mean, like I don't know, it's like when it was coming out, I'm like I want to hear some fast and crazy stuff or whatever. So it's like it took me a minute to get down with it. So
it's like it's like same thing. It's like they're almost even a little bit weirder than sort of like getting into Rites of Spring or something, right?
Well, no, definitely. It's like Rites of Spring at least has more ties to like kind of punk hardcore. Right. Not that like Lungfish doesn't, but it is.
It's just not enough chaos for you ever.
Yeah.
Well, I like to not forget the chaos, so it's like like a little band called The Exploited said, so I live by that every day. But no, I think it just I don't know, like I mean just some shit, it's kind of like some people are like some of the Discord stuff came out and people are like, oh shit, this is, too artsy or whatever the fuck, and it's like, I think it helped, obviously with age, you open your mind a little bit more to things that like, you're like, oh wait, it went over my head maybe a little bit at times. So I don't know, but
All right. Ebro, what's your first pick? What you got?
All right. So I saw these guys on Sunday and I hadn't seen them. So it's the Digits Horn and Pinata album, which is a great fucking record. And actually I was gonna, because I've been listening to Hey Judester, the album before it, but actually someone had listed that in one of the fucking 500 episodes again. And so I'm playing by the rules. I'm going with Horn and Pinata, which is also a great record.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'd seen, I used to see these, well, not a lot, but I saw them a couple of times when these records came out when I was a kid and shit. They were always fucking awesome. They were awesome at this show on Sunday, even though Doug Evans has passed away, and he had some dudes, younger dudes playing with him or whatever, but Rick Sims was super on it and was fucking hilarious. So that made it good. But like, I don't know. I mean, these records are like it's funny because like the lyrics don't make any sense or they're just silly or whatever, but they're fucking have choruses that like I was singing along to all these songs, even though it's ridiculous or whatever.
Max Wedge and all this kind
of stuff. It's like it's all about, like car shit and like whatever, but like they could write a chorus, they could write really catchy songs. The songs rock. They're fun. Like Rick Sims was fucking hilarious on Sunday. He was saying a lot of funny shit, so that helped too. So I don't know. I always liked them. I saw them. So yeah, I saw them a long time ago. I saw them when they did like the Touch and Go 25-year anniversary thing. They did a reunion of that. And I was trying to
out in the parking lot.
Yeah. So
I saw them there.
Yeah, like them. It was like the first time that. Well, Negative Approach. That's when they like. They hadn't turned into what they've turned into now, where they're playing all the time. That was like we saw them in Detroit, like maybe like the weekend before they played at St. Andrews Hall and shit, and then they did this. But it was like them and Killdozer played and Pegboy played and fucking Big Black played. They played a couple songs or whatever. Like it's like, and it was just it was fun because it wasn't like, oh, we're charging $150 to get into this. It was like affordable and the bands were cool and people were having a good time. And it was just, like that was a good.
Is that the Hideout?
So yeah, it was like in the outside, like the parking lot by the Hideout. And then they had some shit going on in the Hideout because the Hideout's super small too. But that was a fun time or whatever. So, but they were still great. They were a great band, I don't know what else to say.
I love his guitar playing. I love his guitar playing.
Oh yeah, his guitar.
I was saying, where was the after show at?
That was at the Empty Bottle, and like they played, and the Crosses, who it's like Dan from Die Kreutzen, and somewhat like the drummer from Big Laugh and the guitarist who was in this band called Dr. Shrinker, who were an old Milwaukee death metal band or whatever, they were fucking amazing. Like they're so good. Like we Compulsion played with them a couple months ago and shit. And they're fucking awesome. So that was a great show. Like both of them together, like they do the Crosses do a bunch of songs off the first Die Kreutzen album. They do a bunch of songs off of October File or whatever, and then they do songs off the 7-inch. But like the kid who plays drums for fucking Big Laugh, who plays drums for them, is fucking awesome too. So it's like they sound really, really good. And Dan is super cool. He was super nice. Like when Compulsion played with him, he was like, we were talking and he gave me the shirt and like they were like all, he was just like, super nice guy. So like they it's cool that they're doing what they're doing. They're gonna have, I think, they have songs that are coming out eventually, like their own songs.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh yeah, I
But-
saw that the other day.
Well,
Yeah. So
I still haven't seen the Crosses yet, but like Decorson's one of my favorite bands ever.
yeah, man, they're like this fucking record. I've been, you know, since I was a kid or whatever. It's so good. You know,
Back to
like
the digits.
what's that?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Back to the digits. Yeah, but yeah, no, the digits were fucking awesome too. So it's
I was just gonna say, you know, the way I found out about them is like, you know, the Offspring covers them on one of their records.
yeah, well, and it's funny.
Killboy Powerhead, right? Killboy.
Yeah,
Powerhead.
Yeah, that's right. Killboy Powerhead.
At this show, they played that, and they're just like, "Yeah, this goes out to Dexter and the boys," and like there was a bunch of young kids there or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah," like that, like you know, like, and I mean that's cool. That's cool that like people knew about him by that, but like, of course, he also like was always antagonistic and shit, so he was also saying a bunch of shit to piss people off, and you know, I mean, but it was funny. I don't know, it was just you know. I don't know.
Killer band, absolutely killer. I fucking love the digits, man.
Yeah, well, and it's kind of like, you know, they came out at a time where it's like, again, I was looking for hardcore shit, but then it's like these songs are so catchy, it's like undeniable, you know, and it's raw, and it's like, I mean, it's pretty fast too. It's so it's kind of like you can get into it, but it's I don't know. Like when I saw him a long time ago, it's like there was a bunch of like skinheads there, and he was saying shit to piss them off. And it's just like, why are you guys fucking with everyone, man? It's like, what's your problem? It's like all this shit. It was just, I don't know. They're just an awesome band. So it's like something that you can listen. They're a good driving band. When you're driving, you can fucking listen to those first couple records or whatever. And it's just like a good, like them and the Ramones and bands like that are good driving bands. So.
It's like the Digits and Lungfish are the driving bands.
Yeah, exactly. Lungfish, you know, like
different kinds of driving.
Yeah, like if you're doing slow, like angular driving, that's kind of Lungfish, and if you're
angular driving,
you need to stay awake, you put on the digits. Yeah.
Right, exactly. right.
All right, Jeff, what's your first pick?
All right, so my first pick's a new record, and it's one I've been excited to talk about, and like I'm kind of surprised no one's talked about it yet, but.
Okay.
Maybe because that's kind of like it's kind of hard to get. It's this first record by this band, Ayukaba, out of Barcelona.
Oh, right on.
Operación Masacre. Sorry for my Spanish. Like Operation Massacre.
Yeah. Operación Masacre. Right.
But it's on this label called Metadona Records out of Spain, and they put out a lot of great stuff, you know. And I think this pressing of this record is limited to like only 300 copies or something, and 50 of those, like Sorry State, got directly from the label overseas, and it kind of like sat in the store for a while. But then if anyone reads the newsletter, I wrote about it and I've talked about it ad nauseum, and then Daniel wrote about it too. And I just think this record is amazing. You know,
are they a new band though, or are they an older band?
So it's interesting. So. Well, firstly, so like a little bit of background on the band. It's like they're based in Barcelona, but like several of the people in the band are transplants from South America. It's one of the guitar players from Muro, and then the singer is this woman who sang that band Injection. I don't know if y'all have heard of that band, but and then Matteo, the bass player, like does a bunch of artwork for bands and stuff, you know. So they're kind of a super group, but not really. But like they started out, and it was funny, like, you know. So he sang in the original lineup of the band, and now she sings.
Okay.
But when they first started, they like, you know, it's like he played bass she played bass and he sang, and now they've switched, you know. And I don't know what made them do that because they have a demo out and it's like a different lineup or whatever. But so I don't know. Led them to make that decision, but so like I don't know, musically it's like I think like kind of similar to Muro. It's like they sort of like have like a little bit of that kind of mid-period Japanese thing going on, like sort of like GZ, kind of like that motor charge, like in between pace. And like the guitar player on this record, he just has these like sort of like sweeping, sort of like atmospheric leads going on and stuff. But it's like has these metallic influences, but it's not super metal. It's still this kind of like raw, sort of like it's like raw textural production. Like it's like just a great sort of like when I heard this record, like not sort of knowing a whole lot about it, it just feels like a record that feels like really special. Like Mike, you were talking at the beginning, like I think this is going to be one of the best records of the year, easily.
Yeah, I've read about it.
And it kind of feels like maybe not a lot of people know about it or something, you know.
I mean, the only place I found out about it was from you and Daniel writing about it. I'm fearful that copies. I can see like Revenge Records maybe being able to get some copies, maybe, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's sold out, maybe they'll do a second press or something. But yeah, I mean, I wish I could sort of eloquently sort of get into why I think this record is so great, but it's just like feels like a record you listen to and it just feels like powerful, you know. And it's just like it feels like an album, like it's constructed in this way where it sort of flows and it just feels like a complete, like fully realized idea of a band. And that's a weird thing considering they're like new, but I think they're all just like seasoned players and like know what they're doing. And I don't know.
Yeah, that's
like,
cool.
Yeah, it's a great record. Would highly recommend it. You should check it out.
Yeah.
Right, to get to that one at some point. We've been lucky. Well, if you're into like 80s Japanese thrash metal, it's been a good year. It's been I'm sure we all are. It's been a lot of good reissues coming out. I mean, Sacrifice, Tears, which is from the early 90s, but that got reissued for the first time, which I know Jeff's a fan of that record. FOAD have been doing some good stuff like the band Vietnam, and they're doing this band called Air Raid. Air Raid is awesome, and I'm happy to see that the Air Raid reissue only has the demos on it, and there's like it's just pretty much just a straight ahead.
Yeah,
there's no rehearsals
it doesn't have someone that was like 20 feet away, like recording on a boombox or whatever.
So I'm definitely going to be picking up the Air Raid like demos LP when that comes out. But for me, there's always been one band that are head and shoulders above any other like Japanese thrash metal band. They're special. I've talked about them before. I've tried to get people into this band over the years and not really have much success. So I'm going to try again tonight. They're not for everyone. They're definitely an acquired taste. And their back catalogue is being reissued for the first time ever. And they've kind of got back together and they have a new lineup and they've got a new album out. And maybe that's why. So they're going back and they're reissuing all their old stuff.
Wow.
Of course, I'm talking about the one and only, honestly, one of my favorite Japanese bands ever. I first got this stuff on tape back in the 80s and it absolutely blew my mind with like no context. Like it might have been on the back of another tape with SOB or Gizm or something. And I just thought all these bands were like the same, you know, in the same thing. I had absolutely no idea. Like no context, right?
Yeah.
No, I know different. But I'm talking about Doom.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I'm so excited. I mean, I've got the originals, but you know, I have to get their reissues as well. It's a kind of it's expanded. There's some like compilation tracks, so it's a double LP now. This originally came out in '88. Man, this sounds like nothing else that I've ever heard. Like when people in the West kind of found out about this band, immediately it's like, oh, Japanese Voivod. It's like progressive, like thrash. They don't sound anything like Voivod. It's the same way that's like when people like first heard SOB. It's like, oh, Japanese Napalm Death, but it's like it's no. It's
they never
right. But man, there's some elements of this band that just make them stand out. I mean, their first LP is kind of pretty straight ahead, like thrash metal. This is like their second LP or mini LP. But man, they did a really quick stylistic change up within 1 year. Fretless bass. Fretless bass.
That does it to you. It changes everything.
You can see why I've had like a hard time trying to get people into the fretless bass.
Yeah, that's all you have to say.
I don't know if level imaginable. Fretless bass.
Wow.
And then in these like atmospheric parts, he sounds like Mick Kahn from Japan.
Yeah. Right.
You know? Who doesn't like Mick Kahn from Japan? So, and then there's that fretless bass. There's other things.
I think the thing is that like Doom always, because it's like, oh, the Japanese Doom versus the, like it's like when people say Doom, it's like they're thinking UK Doom or whatever, and then it's kind of like, I just think there was always a while ago like some kind of confusion with that or whatever.
You just reminded me of a hilarious and kind of annoying story. I was watching because I do YouTube. I get a lot of weird like recommendations on YouTube for like YouTube channels and stuff. So reaction videos. There was a guy, he'd not done any preparation and he'd already done like the British Doom. And he's like, I just come across this other track by Doom like online.
Wait, they have friends.
He's like, I haven't listened to it yet. It's like a reaction video, right? So I'm going to listen to like Doom like song for the first time, and he's like, it comes on. I think it was a song from this. And he's like, "Oh, this sounds very different from like Police Bastard or whatever."
That's so
I
funny.
was just sat there thinking, "You idiot! It's like obviously a different band."
Yeah.
I mean, fretless bass and like very King Crimson, a lot of King Crimson, a lot of like 70s hard rock, but they mix up like so seamlessly.
Right.
They're complicated songs, lots of time changes and stuff, but like all these like ingredients like mixed up and just. So I don't know why. I know Brian from Drop Dead is a fan. He's going to be excited about this, but it's kind of a hard sell. And they started off, they got signed to a major. They were on a major for like 4 albums. They got dropped. They weren't doing anything. You know, they were going to America to record their albums. Victor Invitation was obviously spending a lot of money on this band. They were doing pretty well in Japan, but like nobody outside of Japan like cared about this band like at all. Like nobody.
Yeah.
It's like they were getting like big shot producers and like spending way too much money on recording and stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like Gas Tank did that too. But
but I mean, I think the thing was that for up until the 2000s or whatever, like people in the United States, like outside of a very small amount of people that were like, you know, like, oh shit, this, you know, Japanese punk and metal and hardcore is amazing. Like a lot of people just didn't, you know, like they were kind of like, you know, stuck in the viewpoint of like, oh, I only care about stuff kind of happening around me or whatever. And so, and then it flipped. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, I, you know everything about everything having to do with every band that ever put out a flexi that there's 10 of like in Japan or whatever. And that all kind of switched. So it's kind of like, I'm sure there's probably more people that like it now than back then or whatever. Also, it was really hard to find most.
I was kind of laughing because like this has just been reissued, but actually it's probably not easier, but this is not going to make it outside of Japan either.
Yeah, right. But,
you know, Japanese label, it's kind of gone through Disc Union. It's really beautiful pressing. I've got the originals. These sound like better than the originals. They've done a really good job. And this is the third album, Complicated Mind. Fucking look at that, man. And of course, this is what the band looked like. You know, full kabuki makeup. Awesome. I love this band, man. I've always been so enthusiastic about this band. And there's going to be...
I have a 7-inch by them, actually. And I really like the first record a lot. But I've never heard that second or third record.
The 7-inch is their most like straightforward, like 80s Japanese thrash.
Yeah, because when you said that they kind of sound like Voivod, I was like, they're not that quirky, you know? Like,
no. I mean, these don't sound like Voivod either. It's just the first comparison. It's like technical, and then but really they don't sound
it's a little proggy or whatever.
And they have a really kind of interesting trajectory, this band, because they kind of started off on Explosion, which is the same label as Sacrifice, got signed to a major for 4 albums, got dropped by a major, released one album on their own label, and then in the 90s, they were putting out records on HG Fact.
Wow. Oh, yeah.
With like that artwork and stuff. Yeah. It's such a weird trajectory to go on.
Well, that's how I first, heard about them, because, like Pushead did the art. I don't even fucking remember.
And there's this weird like compilation CD which has Doom, Cavity, Final Conflict, Rocket from the Crypt, Death, Crane, this like compilation CD. So it's like weird. This like it's crazy. Like this technical like Japanese progressive thrash band is on this. But people love them. I mean, there's a certain niche audience who totally go to back. And the drummers that they've had like for the past like 20 years is the drummer of Gas Tank.
Oh shit! Okay.
Has this drummer. So there's all these like kind of a little bit of a connection to the hardcore scene and stuff.
Yeah.
Check them out if you can. I love Doom. I can't wait. You're going to be hearing more from this band in October.
So what label put out the reissues?
It's called 13th Real Recordings, which is kind of their own label, but it's all through Disc Union.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Check them out. You can listen to it online or whatever. And it's all being recorded on CD and stuff too. But
my friend Kat's in Tokyo right now. Maybe I could get her to grab me copies of the records.
There you go. These two come out. They're out, and then on the back you can see that the next two are Incompetent and Human Noise. Human Noise has never been on vinyl ever.
Okay, cool.
So I'm super excited for end of October. You'll hear me talking about Doom again.
Okay.
You're ready.
No, I really want to hear it. Sounds awesome.
All right, there you go. That's my Doom rant over with. All right, Matthias. What you got?
All right. Another new record, and also a Michigan record, which I always like to talk about. Be curious if Ebro, if you've got up on this band yet. This record just came out like maybe last month. They are, I'll say a Detroit band, but they're probably somewhere around Detroit. A label out of Lansing called Settler Wind, and this is a band called Big Life.
Oh, I haven't heard of that. Yeah.
The cost of progress. So they put out another record at the beginning of the year too, which has got a great title. It's If You Like Bad Ideas, It's a Very Exciting Time.
I like the cover art.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, these are silk screened. I think it says they only did 100. I don't know if that's the whole press or just the silk screen, because I think there were like multiple variations of the black and white artwork. But so this is a 4-piece band, kind of like I would assume the main songwriter is this guy Ryan Allen, who is very prolific. He's got he's probably 32 or 3 years old, and he has like 80 bands to his on his resume already. And he runs the gamut. He does solo stuff. He's got a pop punk band called Extra Arms. But Big Life is a hardcore band, and I would say it's 86 Dag Nasty with some Husker Du thrown in there. Melodic, good kind of political aware lyrics. And 86 Dag Nasty without the Brian Baker occasional wank. You know what I mean? Like they don't really do that too much. And I mean, yeah, I think that's probably the best comparison. Big throwback to that kind of vibe. Definitely mid 80s DC without the guitar wanking, but there is a sax solo on this, which will definitely throw you for a loop the first time you hear it.
Nice. Wow.
That's
definitely caught me off guard when I first heard it. It's only on one song. It's obviously something they just tried to see how it worked out, but super solid songwriting. I like this one even more than the first record. The first record I think is good. They had a demo before that also too. I think the songwriting in both records are great. I just like the way that this one kind of comes together a little bit more. I think vocally and lyrically it's a lot tighter. I don't think they've really played out of Michigan all that much. I mean, they are playing live, but I know they played Edgemont once or twice, and but I don't think they've really played outside of the like Detroit area. But yeah, I mean, very, having the Ryan being in like all these different styles of bands, you can just tell he knows what he's doing, right? Because like he can play all these different styles, he can write songs in all these different styles, and they're solid. They're not just like, he's not just half-assing it or part-timing it or anything like that. And has, he's got a very probably, I would assume, extensive musical array or musical family or something like that, because he's probably been playing guitar since he was like 6, I would think. So, but yeah, I mean, it's great. It's just straightforward, good, hardcore, a lot of songs about just like how fucked up everything is, and a lot of swearing, which I enjoy in my hardcore. And like, yeah, I mean, it's in Settler Wind, I don't really know much what they've done. Like they have 20 or so releases out, I think, or maybe more. I don't know, but I don't think they're like a hardcore label, but maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know much beyond Big Life, but yeah, definitely good. I think you'd totally dig this, Ebro. Yeah, that's cool. Check it out. Definitely, they're on Bandcamp and all that stuff. So
yeah, right on.
Cool. Yeah.
When you say 86 Dag Nasty, you mean like Wig Out?
No, I would say it's closer to the Can I Say Dag Nasty. Okay. It's
not Sean era.
Yeah, it's definitely not Peter Kortner era Dag Nasty or even Dave Small. Like I don't know, but like
it's more like Field Day.
Yeah, I mean, vocally, it's a little gruffer than any of that stuff. It's still melodic at times, but like there's definitely more bite in the vocals than like Dag Nasty or something like that, I would say. But it it definitely has more occasionally drifts into like more like that same era Husker Du kind of vibe too sometimes, which is cool.
I love that era,
Yeah, it's really, really good. And like they had actually sent the demo to me to put it out, and I at the time just didn't have much bandwidth, and I kind of regret not being partially involved or doing a split label or something, because it's one, a Michigan band. I love to support Michigan bands, and two, it's just really, really solid stuff. So
maybe the next one will be good too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, beautiful. All right, Ebro, what's
up? So I didn't see this band this past weekend, but I've been listening to it a lot anyway. So yeah, because Naked Raygun played. Well, they played a show on Sunday. Basically, it was like Naked Raygun and Friends, because Jeff Bezzotti is dealing with health issues, and so I think they had some people come up and help sing the songs and stuff. But this is my favorite Naked Raygun record. It has been for a long time. It's like it's I don't know, like it's basically like I pretty much love all the records except for the last one, Raygun Naked Raygun, which I like songs on it, but like this record was like, it's all fucking hits or whatever. It's like, I don't know. Naked Raygun is always been a Chicago thing. Like since I was young, it was like everyone, like people, even normal people went to Naked Raygun shows. It was like they would have a lot of people at the shows and shit, and it was like so many people I knew just maybe didn't know anything about punk or whatever, but they would go to a fucking Naked Raygun show because they were hanging out with other people who were going to it and stuff. So it was like they have always been kind of entwined with stuff going on in Chicago. It basically, again, it's like, even though I was looking for like hardcore shit or whatever, fucking the Naked Raygun records, like they, like I think what I like, because I heard someone this past weekend say that they were like, someone's like, what are the best pop punk bands? And they say Naked Raygun. And like, to me, Naked Raygun, like when I think of pop punk, I think of something a little more like Naked Raygun has balls or whatever. It has like, like it's very like power, like powerful. It's kind of more like in line with like they cover like Stiff Little Fingers. It's like stiff, like that kind of,
about like Chicago, like discordance. Always.
Yeah. There's always like that, they say the Chicago sound or whatever and shit. And so it's kind of like that, and like the effigies and
they are melodic. They are melodic. I think pop punk is a stretch,
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're melodic, but it's kind of like to me, it's more, well, it's funny because it's like when I think about like Naked Raygun or like sing along, like it's not wimpy sounding. It fucking sounds like it's like, it's still powerful. Like they had good lyrics that were very like about, the fucked up shit happening in the world or whatever. And it wasn't like, they had some stuff that was sillier or whatever, but it was, it's not, I don't know. I don't think of it when I think of that exactly. Like they're melodic, right? But it's kind of like, yeah, it's more than that. And they always, it's sad. Like like Pierre Kesty died a couple years ago or whatever. And I guess at this show, his daughter came out and played his bass, and they played Treason.
Oh,
and
wow.
so, I mean, it's like, yeah, like that would have been like cool to see or whatever. But yeah, like All Rise to me, because I love Throb, but there are more kind of arty elements to it. Like All Rise is like, it's got a little bit of that, but it's like more straightforward, and the songs rock and shit. And then Jettison and Treason like follow along with that or whatever.
I was gonna say, but that's my favorite like Naked Raygun album too. But I think I have other songs that I like a bit more, like Treason, and of course Vanilla Blue is like
yeah.
of all
One
time.
of my favorites off of Jettison is When the Walls Come Down. I love it.
Yeah, that's a great fucking like that, and Soldier's Requiem and the Mule, and like I mean, like all like the and that's the thing too, because going to see them, it was like the crowds were big or whatever, and they would do shit, they would call free shit, and they would make weird like branded, like a fucking like a squirt gun or like something with naked gun on and throw them out and shit. It was just like it was kind of like an experience, an event, or I mean, I don't know. Like I don't know how to describe it. It's hard to describe it now. And it's sad to kind of see, I mean, obviously time comes for all of us or whatever, but it's kind of like they were so like it was such a thing or whatever. So it's sad that so much is going on or whatever that maybe it's putting them in a place where they can't do it how they would want to even. So I mean, but they sold out this club, the Metro and shit, and I'm like seeing videos, people are singing along. I mean, it would have been fun to have gone to it, but it just didn't happen. So I don't know, but but All Rise is a fucking classic.
Absolutely, yeah. It's the first one I heard. Then I went back and was like, this is a little different. And then I think
but Throb though also has fucking like it has classic songs. Like, and that was the thing, they would play later on, they would play songs from all like even like back to fucking Basement Screams and still play those songs or whatever. So it's like there was shit that like you always knew live or whatever, even if you didn't have those records and stuff. So I don't know, but yeah, they were a great band, or they are a great band still. But
I think, did you see the thing that Daniel posted on the Sorry State Instagram where he has like
I didn't read all of it, but I did see that because they're still Touch and Go is reissuing all the LPs on colored vinyl or whatever, and that's coming out I think pretty soon, like this month or next month or something.
I mean, very timely for you to talk about that record. I didn't realize they were playing,
Yeah, well, so they don't play very often because, like I said, he's dealing with some health issues. The last time I saw them was it was not that long ago, but it was within, I don't even know, like at least it was before COVID.
Okay.
So, like they haven't played in a while. And the last time I saw them, like there were some issues going on and shit. So it's like, it is sad. Like they're still doing it. And it was like, it would be fun to go see them, but I don't think they're going to play very often or whatever.
Right.
But they're still, like all those like I know those lyrics like the back of my fucking hand. It's like, that's the thing. It's like
they're one of the all-time like great punk bands to me. Like they just deserve to be. I'm not. I mean, it'd be probably wrong to say they're like underrated, but I do think they are.
I mean, it's not. So that's the thing. It's like bands that bands that are big in Chicago or they're known in Chicago, like throughout the rest of the country historically, it's like it's not like they, because obviously the East Coast and West Coast has media centers that like especially in the 80s or whatever would like kind of promote bands from around there and like people they knew and shit. So it's like the Midwest has always been kind of not as promoted. So I would agree that I don't think if I said Naked Raygun, they're great, like there was people that didn't even really know that, like if I go somewhere else and say that, they wouldn't know it. Like Chicago, everyone's like that's no question, but everywhere else is kind of, I don't know. And that's just kind of how it's always been, I don't know.
Maybe it's almost kind of better that never happened to them or whatever. Like they didn't.
Well, I mean,
like the kind of I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I think
I don't know. Sorry.
I think they were popular enough to, like they could tour and like play with bands and have good shows and stuff. But like it never turned into like, and I think obviously now like fucking Dave Grohl talked about like, one of my first shows was like visiting his cousin. They went to the Cubby Bear and they saw them in like the early 80s and shit. And so, and he had them open up for them at fucking Wrigley Field, which is where the Cubs play, like the baseball field or whatever. So it's like there have been things but it's I don't know. Like, I don't know how to describe it, you know, and maybe that's just more of like a perception of like, we've always just felt like, oh, people don't really give a shit about a lot of the stuff happening here on the same level as like, and that's not knocking bands obviously from the East and West Coast or whatever. It's just, but that's always kind of how it's felt, you know, for people from Chicago. So I don't know.
I hear you.
Being a transplant to Chicago in my 30s, that's something I noticed really quickly is like people who grew up here and lived here and experienced Raygun and Pegboy and all those bands are like fanatic about those bands. And like, I like those bands, but like, I'm never going to be at that level. Like, it's impossible for me to ever be at that level with those bands. Like, that's more like the Hyenas or whatever for me coming from Detroit. But like, I mean,
like, it was always just kind of like, that was like, you know, an introduction for a lot of people into punk around here or whatever, and like going to those shows and shit. So it's kind of like people, you know, and like I said, it's like when I was on the swim team when I was a kid, one of my coaches, we talked about Naked Raygun and shit. Like, and he didn't go to any fucking, like, he's like, oh yeah, I've seen Naked Raygun. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. You know, it's like that kind of, you know, just like there was kind of a crossover of a lot of different types of people would go to these shows and stuff. And so it was and you wouldn't get that for a lot of bands, you know, like, I don't know.
All right. Where were we? Jeff, next pick. I just got rid of the idiot in the comments, by the way, if anyone saw the idiot in the comments.
Oh, no, what did he say?
Let's move on. Jeff, what's your next pick?
Well, you know, you said the word crossover. This isn't really. So I've been like listening to this record a lot, the Daytona record. And you know, I've loved this record for a long time, but like I've never managed to lock down like an 80s Metal Blade pressing of it or whatever. There's that High Roller did a reissue of this, and you know, I think High Roller does a really good job. Sometimes it seems like their packaging is kind of by the numbers. You know, you're always going to get a poster of the cover art and all that stuff, but like it's, you know, it's nice quality sleeve and all that stuff. But I don't know, like as much as like, you know, like would you call? I don't. I've heard people call this crossover. I wouldn't really call it that, you know. But
no, there is a word for it. We talked about it before. Street metal.
Oh yeah. No, actually that. It fits for street
like
metal.
zoetrope, not pronounced zoetrope.
Etrope.
But I think there is something about it though. It's just like, even like, I know like certainly metalheads like this, but I have a lot of punk friends who love this record, you know, and like maybe part of this is like, I don't know, the black, white, and red aesthetic. It kind of looks like a, you know, it could be like a UK, like, you know, I don't know, but I don't know, like something about the production keeps me from getting there, especially the crossover thing though. Like something about it's like it still has the really boomy, not tight sounding kick drum, and like the leads are very like noodly, almost in a sort of like early European metal kind of way. So it seems like they still kind of have a foot in that sort of traditional heavy metal a little bit, but obviously the speed is there, and also the band plays just like so aggressively. And I think part of it too is that like I think anyone who likes this record would agree that like the glowing thing about this record is Dawn Crosby.
Yeah,
you know, she's just amazing. You know, it's like I remember the first time I heard this record, I was just like, she's so fucking gnarly sounding. You know, it's like she gargles broken glass before she does a vocal take or something. You know, and like I think that really just brings it to the next level. Not that the musicianship isn't like cool or whatever, but like it just, I don't know.
Yeah,
but yeah, fucking great record. And I don't know, like I sort of reading up about this record, I didn't realize that like she died kind of tragically young, you know. Too bad, like in the 90s or something. I guess at a certain point they reunited, and I think they've had one woman who's been in the band for a long time now. At one point, like Anne Boleyn from Heathen was doing vocals.
Wow.
It's interesting, you know. It's like it's kind of a good fit, but also kind of like not really, you know. It's like to me, she's kind of more like the wispy side. Not street metal, she's night metal, you know. Yeah, I don't know. I've just been like loving the hell out of this record.
It's a classic, man. It's like, imagine if Sacrilege from the UK were like from the mean streets of like wherever they are from, like Detroit.
I think there's definitely a parallel there. And like I think even when I wrote about this in the Sorry State thing or whatever, and I talked about how like Lifeless Dark, that new LP, like I think they probably obviously they love Sacrilege, but I bet you they love this
Oh,
record.
yes, yeah.
Like,
Chris,
especially like Elaine's vocals. I feel like she really is like into Don Crosby. Maybe I'm projecting.
I think you're probably correct. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
There's another band from Germany called Holy Moses.
I've heard of them.
Who are kind of similar, like really ripping female vocalist, and like
that sounds familiar, but I don't think I ever
finished with the Dogs is like their like one of their classic. Holy Moses, check them out.
Yeah,
I like that. Do you know the Zeno White?
It's yeah, No, that they were Chicago, so yeah, like
oh really? Right on.
Yeah, them and E-Trope were both from Chicago, so yeah, that like street metal. I think that is a good term to use for that because it's like it doesn't fit in, like it's more raw and like I mean E-Trope used to play like hardcore shows and shit, and they like like fucking Kenny Black and like the other dudes from it like help record the fucking Life Sentence LP, the first one or whatever, and like did all this so I mean it was tied in together like in Chicago and stuff. So
I mean you do see pictures of like Don Crosby like wearing GB8 shirts and shit, so it's all
everyone loved GB8.
I think fair enough, but like just it wasn't like it was so isolated or whatever.
Well, no, I mean it's kind of like, well, I mean I guess it's kind of like I was exposed to like punk shit, looking at metal, fucking Metallica or Slayer or whatever, like wearing like punk related shirts and shit. So it's kind of like there was always that aspect, especially for people that were like not super dressed up in fucking leather or whatever. Like
no like Dungeons and Dragons or Swords and Sorcery. It's all like it's street
metal, right? Yeah, but street metal. Yeah.
All right. So last week Dan Nagaki went full on with a bunch of compilation albums. I think he showed 3 or something, and so I was like, I got a couple of good compilation albums that I've been listening to lately. One of them is new. It's old music. But any like proper professional record collectors will probably have all of these 7 inches in their original like 45 format, classic UK label. It's kind of fun to have all this stuff on a triple LP, if you like that kind of thing. And I'm talking about this is I've been playing this a lot. It's incredible. It's the Chisik Records.
Oh shit!
Oh, cool.
Chisik Records, 1975 to 1982, 7 years at 45 RPM.
And so are all the Chisik bands on it?
Wow.
Like it's a specific band.
This is funny you say that because obviously not all Chisik bands were created equal, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, I know what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, yeah, there's a certain specific one that was pretty notorious.
That band is not on here. No.
Right on.
Right on. But I thought, what I thought you were going in the direction was like, that's okay.
No, I was going in the direction. You know what direction I was going in.
Obviously, there's like some just straight up classic, but I was laughing because like you don't get to like Love Song and Smash It Up until side 5.
Oh shit!
There's a lot of stuff that came before the Damned, which influenced the Damned.
Yeah.
I mean, you got the 101ers, Joe Strummer's band.
Yeah.
And I realized, I kind of knew this, but I realized, for instance, that the Count Bishops or the Bishops are the best like UK like proto punk band. They're just ferocious, man. Like so much energy, it's wild.
Yeah, wow.
The Count Bishops. So I've been listening to a lot of the Count Bishops because of this record. Count Bishops were phenomenal, amazing. And then the Gorillas, the Radio Stars, Radiators from Space, Motorhead, of course, Motorhead, Twink and the Fairies, Johnny Moped, Johnny and the Self Abusers. It goes on and on and on. But you've got all these lesser songs too. But like somehow it just kind of works just beautifully as a listen. You get the classics that and then you get some lesser known like rock and roll or power pop or pub rock, and really it kind of gets a little iffy by side 6, I will say. But up until that point, I just been playing this like straight through all the time. Cool. And it also the best pop rock song of all time is on this record, which I only heard this song for the first time ever like 2 months ago.
Okay.
And I posted it.
The best.
And I people were like, why have you never heard this song before? I was like, I don't know. I'm talking about Driver's Seat by Sniffing the Tears.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Come on. I can't say anything because I had not heard this song until like 2 months ago.
Wow.
Driver's Seat by Sniffing the Tears. Check out that song. It will blow your mind. I actually went out and bought the album.
Yeah.
Because of that song, and the rest of the album is not as
good. Yeah. It might be more suited to one song on it.
I love the fact that they were on Chisik as well. And then, man, this song "Ramalama Ding Dong" by Rocky Sharp and the Replays is like a 50s like rock and roll throwback, which is like a novelty hit.
Yeah.
Is on here, and I guess the late 70s, but man. And it's nicely done. It's not a gatefold, but there's like liner notes about like each song and stuff. And it's. I mean, just
cool.
What an amazing collection of songs, you know.
That was my first thought. Like when you said there was a triple LP from this year to this year, it's like there's probably so much stuff I've never heard on there. You know?
I mean, there's stuff like Disguise, Red Beans and Rye. TV Smith's Explorers are on here too. Okay. Even the Meteors are on here. You know, Psychobilly Band, Stukas. I know. Even for me, like the kind of lesser songs are still enjoyable.
So what label put it out?
It's on Ace, which is basically part of that Big Beat Ace, Chisik Records, family. But it's to commemorate the 50th. Is it 50? It must be 50th anniversary of like. When I said it, I was like, that can't be right. And I was like,
well, it can be right. Yeah,
the 50th anniversary of like Chisik Records. Like.
Yeah, right on.
Triple LP.
Cool.
More punk and pub rock than you can shake a stick at.
That's cool.
I tell you what, though, I've said it before, but listening to the Count Bishops, they were just ferocious, man. Actually, like Motorhead and Damned kind of sound slow. Like after you listen to the Count Bishops, they're just ripping. Like, just a lot of speed, I think. I mean, even more than Dr. Feelgood. I mean, they're way more ripping than Dr. Feelgood.
Right on.
Yeah.
Cool.
Right. Matthias, what's your next pick?
All right. So this is not a 2005 record at all, or 2025. Sorry. So I kind of grew up like when I was younger. I liked being around adults or whatever. I heard a lot of like 60s rock or folk music and stuff like that. And certain things really stuck with me as I got older, particularly like protest folk and stuff like that. And I really liked Donovan when I was younger quite a bit and kind of grew up around a lot of that stuff. This is Scottish folk singer, but I think he lived in London and worked out of Britain most of his life. Recorded in 1965 at Pi Studios. This is the 2003 maybe Earmark reissue, but it's Bert Jansch. Man, this record is so good. It's just, I don't even know how to describe like how down to earth and realistic the songwriting is on this record. So like, is incorporating like British folk and some blues and a little bit of American folk. This is before he went on to be in Pentangle, which I think is a couple of years after this record. And this one he wrote, I think he wrote it or at least played on a lot of records with another kind of like famous guy, that John Renbourn, who's pretty well known in that folk scene also. Was also in Pentangle with him later. But, huge influence on all those people coming up in the 60s, the Jimmy Pages, all the way up through like Nick Drake's and Johnny Marr. Like I watched a YouTube video of Johnny Marr just, gushing over Bert. So like this is one that I definitely came to later. I probably didn't hear any of his stuff until I was like maybe 30 or something. Although I was familiar because the Donovan covers the Do You Hear Me Now on the Universal Soldier EP. So I had heard some of his songs before. But I find I just drawn to his stuff because it was a little darker, a little gruffer. he isn't really dabbling too much in that psychedelic kind of like pop world that, you know, say like Donovan got into later or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I this record, I mean, he's got a ton of stuff out, both with the band and solo. The Black Swan record that I think Drag City, there was even a Record Store Day reissue of that not too long ago, is fantastic. And yeah, I mean, this stuff still is just like timeless to me. And like,
man, that's such an amazing pick. I've got one that's going to tie in with that in the next round. I call this stuff Wicker Man folk.
Yeah.
It has like a darkness, and it's so different to American.
I had this out recently too. So. Yeah, and you know, like it's got kind of that heathen kind of vibe to it. That little, you know, like it's not religious music, but it's got kind of like that weird vibe to it, and like, you know, and I even see like a lot of the influences in later people that, like, you know, came out of that World Serpent scene, like Michael Cashmore, who played with like Current 93 a lot. Like his solo records are directly influenced by all of this stuff, right? And like, but yeah, I love this stuff because it was a late find for me in life, and I still don't feel like I really know his entire catalog. At all.
Man, it's big, right?
Still a lot for me to discover in this world, but like, you know, like, I mean, I even think there was the I don't think it's this record. I think it's the one after this. The what's the name of that one? It's got a person's name. I forget what it is off the top of my head, but the Black Mountainside Led Zeppelin song basically rips it off.
Yeah,
and like he got really pissed about it, and like, but Transatlantic didn't really want to take it to court because they figured they can't go up against Led Zeppelin or whatever, so they just dropped it. But you know, Led Zeppelin stealing from people, who would have thought?
Who'd have thought? Yeah. That's such a great pick, man. It's like I'll get to my pick. Well, I'll tie in a little bit to that one, but man, I'm a late comer to it too. It's like, it's funny mentioning Led Zeppelin. Like back in the day when we got Led Zeppelin 3, it was such a confusing record to a teenager, putting on side 2 and thinking, what's going on here with all the acoustic songs and stuff.
Right.
But obviously they were totally like inspired by music, like folk music that had been already written before.
Sure. But, and like the other one, oh man, what's it called? Rosemary Lane. I think it's like a early 70s record of his, which may be his best solo record. Like that's one that I didn't even hear until like, I don't know, like 10 years ago or something, you know, and like a total hidden gem. And I don't think it's not a name you hear along. You hear Dylan, you hear Donovan, you hear whatever. But I had a roommate who worked at a record store, and, you know, saw some, he's like, oh, you ever check out him? And like started picking some stuff up, you know, back when you can get a record for $1 still or whatever. And
it's dark, man. It's dark stuff, man. I always think it's either like Wicker Man or those old like 70s Hammer horror films with like Vincent Price and Peter Cushing. Witchfinder General. It could have been like Music in the Witch. It just has that.
Like 1965 writing an anti-apartheid song, and like, you know, like it's just, I don't know, like I find a lot of that stuff, the roots of that, like, you know, that led into hippies and punks and all that sort of stuff on the road. Still, like every lyric on that record is probably relevant right now, right today, still, which is sad and great at the same time. So yeah, I love it. I've been listening to it a lot on the train lately, and like I kind of like had a gap where I didn't listen to much of his records, and I had something to jog my memory, and I was just like, oh yeah, I should put that on my phone and get reacquainted with it, and forgot how much I really liked it. Like he's got a great voice, and I think he passed away in like 2011 or something, but he was playing right up to the end. So
I would say all protest music is continually relevant.
Yeah, you know, I like there's that guy that's all hot on the internet, that Jesse Wells guy right now, who's doing a lot of like really interesting protest music, although we did go on like Joe Rogan and kind of do like a Charlie Kirk was actually not a bad guy kind of thing. So
No,
it makes me
awesome. Yeah.
but you know, like you can tell he's in the right spot, and like he's been writing a lot of like kind of interesting like modern day, like people compare him to modern day Dylan or something, but like that might be a bit of a stretch. But it's you know, it's exactly the same thing. It's just being done now in like the weeds of the Ozarks, and like, but it's exactly the same message as that was being said in '65 or whatever. So I'm not sure that speaks much to human progress, but
yeah, unfortunately not.
Yeah.
But
all right, that's a great pick. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. All right, Ebro, what's your next pick?
I'm gonna get a beer.
Yeah.
Should I wait for him to come back?
You might be gone some time with him.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna.
He can hear you.
I'm gonna change the order for my next round to tie in with Matthias's that pick.
Okay. All right. Well, so this next one, because of the book that recently came out, and then there was a zine that came out, and then I saw them this summer. But so yeah, Swiz, Hell Yes I Cheated, which is their second LP, and it's still fucking great. And the book is awesome. So, you know, if you like Swiz, I would say get it because it's really cool. And then
there's a picture of me in there in that book.
Yeah. Well, hold on. Yeah. It's
me and my high school buddy Bill at watching them in Windsor, Ontario in like 88, maybe 87.
Yeah, now I'm trying to I can't find whatever. But anyway, so and then at home scene did so basically like they played the Positive Force DC 40th anniversary that was this summer, and I went out to that. And so the zine basically is an interview with each member of the band talking about what you know, how they felt about the show, and like, you know, just everything that's happening now with them or whatever. But I still love Swiz. They basically, you know, it was like cool because they were a hardcore band, but they also didn't sound like they had their own fucking thing going on or whatever. You can't think like I can think of a few bands that were influenced by them, but like I can't think of like they kind of did their own thing. It was like the way that what's that?
Sweet Jesus.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there are bands that are like kind of trying to sound that style, but like Jason Farrell's guitar playing is crazy and, you know, very hard to I think kind of try and like sound like that or whatever. And then, you know, like Sean Brown's lyrics are amazing. They, you know, like, and then it was cool to finally, because I didn't see them when they played out. They only played out here once at a skate park or whatever. So I got to see them this summer. They were still great. It was cool because it was like it was in the basement of St. Well, to be honest, the whole thing was a really like kind of revitalizing for me too, because it was like a lot of people that have been doing shit for a long time, but actually still care about what's going on, protesting, putting, you know, like the shows were benefits. They were $20 to get into, you know, like people that are still doing shit for the right reason. Because I think right now there's a lot of people that are kind of coming into this and being like, oh yeah, we're hardcore of this, but you know, our show is $40 to get into or whatever. And it's like, it just like is a different
song on the Taco Bell commercial next.
Yeah, right. Or or they're Taco Bell core or whatever. And it's just like, you know, like, what's that?
That ain't hardcore.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like, do your thing, do whatever you want to do. But I mean, on the same end, I do think the medium and how you do it is part of the message. It is part of what I consider to be hardcore, what I consider to be hardcore punk is the way you do things. And do things to help people out, and you know, don't just charge. Like, yeah, you can make more money, that's great, but that doesn't mean anything in the end. So this whole the whole weekend was great because it was, you know, a lot of older bands were playing, a bunch of bands I hadn't seen before, the bands again that like I might not have given as much of a chance back, you know, when I was just like, oh, I just want fast crazy or whatever. Like that band Tsunami, who I hadn't seen before, and they were really good. And you know, it's like I was into it. I was into the whole thing. But Swiz played in the basement of St. Stephen's Church, where they had played like, you know, whatever in 88, 87 or whatever. And I think that was like Fugazi's first show or second show or something. But it was there in that small space. It was like a lot of their friends and a lot, you know, like everyone from Fugazi except for Guy Picciotto was there or whatever. But like, you know, like Ian Mackay was there, and you know, Brendan Canty, and you know, just like there, like people that all knew each other from a long time ago and stuff. So it was a cool show. They sounded great, and it was just fun. It was a good time. And again, that they did as a benefit, and they were just kind of like, look, we the reason why we did this is because Positive Force asked us. It wasn't like, oh shit, hey, we're back. You know, like even though it is cool that that book came out, which is really, really interesting too, because it's done in a way that like is different than a lot. Like I wasn't sure what it was going to be in it, but it's basically like each of the dudes kind of wrote something in it, and you know, it's a bunch of pictures and just memories. And they had to, like, Amanda Mackay, because she, you know, put out the records or whatever. It was like, yeah, like really close to them and went on tour with them, that she wrote stuff in it. And it's like, the book's really cool. They have that box set of all the records coming out, which will be cool too. But yeah, to get back to Hell Yes, I Cheated, I love them because they were just different, you know, like it was hardcore. And there was like in the book they talk about like playing with like Absolution, and they're kind of like, look, like this is kind of like where we're coming from too, where it's like it's heavy and it's hardcore, but it's like not a cookie cutter thing where we're like, we have to fit in like with every other band. And I think they felt like they didn't, because that was when a lot of like the straight edge youth crew thing was happening, which I was way into as well. But it's like, it was cool to have bands doing their own thing or whatever, which is, you know, what I would hope is still would still happen. I mean, you know, for
me, the Swaside tour, the American Standard Swiz Soulside tour, that whatever that was, 88 or something. Yeah. To me, that's the top 5 show. Like so influential. And I grew up with he was a couple years older than me.
Yeah, right.
Sadly, he just passed away a couple years ago, but he was on top of all of that stuff, and you know, read every fanzine front to back. And I remember going out to Sam's Jams in Ferndale, Michigan, and Down was on the wall as a new release, and he's like, "You got to get this; it's incredible." And like, love affair ever since then. And the two people that made me want to play guitar were Jason from Swiz and Pete from Verbal Assault. Like,
totally.
Those two had their own unique style that just was like, what the fuck is this? Like, so good, you know.
That Verbal Assault record has like one of the best guitar tones ever.
Oh yeah,
on vinyl.
Yeah, just super influential.
Yeah. That's it. And it's like, I don't know if it's. I think younger people do get into it, but it is kind of like, I don't know if it's just because it's like I've seen people like knocking like Fugazi or whatever, and I'm like, I get like that it's maybe not as straightforward as maybe some people would want or whatever, but it's like it was pretty like this is cool and something different, and then they're not just doing exactly what they had done before or whatever. And also the fact that, like, to me, all these bands doing it in a way that was like I was saying before about like the Positive Force thing, it was like they were doing it for the right reasons, and they were doing things like, you know, they got offered a lot of money to be on a major label, and they're like, no, we're just going to keep on doing it
right,
ourselves or whatever. And it's kind of like, to me, that's what like punk and hardcore, like that's one of the things that was always like cool about it, to see these people that were kind of living outside of what was the expectation of the time and shit. And I think now there is kind of like this like mainstreamification of shit, where it's like, where people are like, oh, we need to, like worry about how much money we're going to get, and like how many fucking, we have to create content for our fucking shit.
Content. That's
right.
Content is the word I hate almost as much as influencer, but content is the disease for sure.
For our Instagram, so that we, like play, and like everything is done through the focus of a fucking corporation, basically. And it's just like, that's great, because like people, it can expose people to like hearing something they might not hear more easily. But on the same end, it's like, the more and more we give this to people that don't give a fuck about what we're doing and our intentions for doing it, the more that I think things suffer in that sense. And it's like, you might play to a bigger crowd, but nothing changes within that. You're just paying more money to some asshole who fucking does not give a shit about any of this and changing anything, but so I don't know. Yeah, sorry to go on the rant, but basically like to fucking, to go on this shit, that's what I think of, like going like, all right, fuck it, we're gonna play a couple shows as a benefit, and our friends or whatever, and fuck it, that's it. It's like, and then maybe they'll play some more shows, but I don't know if they will. So, but yeah, I'd love to see them again. They were great though. It was cool.
Ferocious, man. Ferocious band.
Yeah, totally.
In a new way that hadn't really been done before.
Well, that's why it's like them, Verbal Assault, those bands or whatever. It's like they were doing things, like it turned into like they had their own thing going on and shit. And it was like, it was still, they could play with these, like play with like Agnostic Front, or play with, DC bands that were more like arty or whatever, it's like they could do all that shit, and it's still
Public Enemy.
Yeah, or Public Enemy, right? Exactly. And then it's like that's shit that I love. So it's like
imagine you would not be here today if you went to that show, because you probably would have just exploded.
Yeah, I'm just like, all right, I'm done. I don't need to go do anything. But yeah, like I wore to that show, I wore a fucking, maybe not that show, but one of the shows that weekend, wore a Public Enemy shirt, and it's like, all the people working there like right on, man. Like it's like, that was, it was cool. Like it's like that made me feel good, and made me feel like, all right, people are still doing this shit for the right reasons, right? So I don't know.
Yeah,
that record's awesome. So
yeah, I want to. I've only got the discography CD at this point, so I'm hoping to pick up those reissues.
Well, so that's the thing. It's like the CD. I don't think it sounds as good as the records.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I think the box set.
All right.
They even like remastered it or whatever. So because I think the CD is cool, but it's like it's cool to have it all together. But it doesn't sound. Like listening to the vinyl sounds better to me. CD did. So
did you get the 7-inch cover?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. So yeah, I got it framed over here. So,
I haven't got mine framed yet. You're ahead of me on that one.
Yeah. Well, no, it's just like, if it was up to me, I want it done. My wife's like, oh, you're getting a frame to put this in, because she bought it for me for my birthday. So I'm like, all right, okay.
Well, that's how you keep her around. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, Jeff. What's your next pick?
All right, let's see here. Hold on. All right, I'll do this one. I got this record kind of recently. I'd kind of been for it for a while. It's this Revulsion record.
Oh man, that's a tough one.
Of utter revulsion. Say what?
That's a tough one to track down these days.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like it's on that Radical Change Records, and they've got they got the Destructors and the Disruptors. They got all the other but like something about like this era of like UK punk, that kind of mid '80s thing where it's kind of like young peace punk dudes like playing hardcore. Like that is just like right up my alley. I like kind of like lump a few kind of bands into that sound. It's like it's like Legion of Parasites and even like Anti-System a little bit too, and like I think this is kind of like a little gem from that scene. But it's the only thing is that like I think like sometimes when you like read the lyrics of some of these bands, it's like the politics are there, the heart is in the right place, but then you read and it's just like a little bit boneheaded, you know. But like that's kind of like adds to the appeal in a way, you know. It's like I don't know, like
they were young, they were British from a small town, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it too is just like in the 80s, people express themselves a little more differently. I'll say that. So it's where people aren't really thinking. They didn't think through with some of the shit that they said. Also, being a young kid, you know, you sometimes say dumb shit, and then later on, you're like, oh, you know, I didn't mean it like that or whatever.
I just think even when you can compare them to like their contemporaries or whatever, it's like it's not as poetic or
right
on like Crass or something. You know
right,
I mean?
right.
But
also, Crass were like probably like 40 when they were like 18. So it's
right.
Like,
they're like writing poetry by candlelight.
Right.
Right. Whatever.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like, so, like I was just thinking about it, it's like, you know, the one like anti-system thing. It's like the what? No me. You know, it's just like that kind of attitude. It's like forgive the accent, but it's just like that's like
that comes like what no meat comes from like a British TV commercial. It comes from a TV commercial, yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
The meat marketing board of England's like, you know, like because too many people were starting to become vegetarian.
I assumed it must not them be actually talking like that. They're like making fun of something, right?
Yeah. It's a kind of proof of a meat butchers society or whatever, like in England around that time, because they felt threatened because too many people were becoming vegetarian. So
I see. Which is kind of a cool thought too, you know. Like I don't know. It's like the last song on this record, "Living Hell." It's like a sort of anti-vivisection song, you know, and like you know the big sort of chanted gang thing is like, you know, like murder is murder, life is life, which like you think about it, it's like that's kind of dumb, you know, but then you also kind of think about it, it's like it's kind of profound too in a way, you know. It's kind of like a beautiful sentiment, you know. So like I don't know, I think there's just like something really like sort of honest and great about this record. But what the thing that's interesting about it is that like a lot of the other things on Radical Change, like Disruptors and Destructors and Icon AD, have been reissued. This hasn't even been reissued on like CD.
Right?
I've never actually like I remember this record, but like I don't think I've even ever heard it. I just like
it's fucking great, like musically and everything too, you know. It's so someone get on that. I don't know.
Yeah, right. Of all the sort of stuff that's been reissued, like that's one that we need. It's like super hard to get. It's always really expensive when you see it, and it's really great. Yeah. In Japan, anyway.
You think the year 2025, when like all these stones are being unturned of like the death?
That's actually a very like bizarre, a very sought after record for people who love like 80s UK anarcho-punk. It's usually like a $200 record in Japan.
Oh wow!
Whenever it shows up, which it almost never does. So
yeah. See, that's wild because every time I go to Japan, it seems like they have like every record. And then maybe it's not like that. It's been a minute.
Things have changed a little bit.
Yeah, but like I'll say up to 2016, the shit when I went into 2014 and 2016, we went to like several of the disc unions in Tokyo, and like all of them had like crazy shit or whatever, and like for good prices too. So I don't know
if they like that, but I think it's caught on. There's a lot of like professional record stores coming over here now and like cleaning up.
Yeah, there are a lot of people from over here that go there now to buy shit and then charge,
especially with the yen being weak at the moment.
Yep.
Don't be wrong. I paid a little bit for it, but not quite that.
Yeah, not that much. Well, and to go back to what you're saying, like I think like that was the thing, like in 80s or whatever, like shit was kind of more, there to me, in terms of being less poetic and more just kind of like I think that there was an innocence to the way that people express themselves, like in these records and just putting this out, and you get like, people are like, oh, it's childish and shit, but it's like, they were teenagers or so it's like they meant it probably like what they were saying. And it's like, that actually speaks to me more than something that's kind of, made prettier or more, I don't know, palatable.
No, it feels real. Like it feels like it has heart.
Right.
Yeah, great record. Hopefully someone reissues it at some point.
Yeah, it needs I talked about Icon AD here before, and the Destructors actually, and you're right. both of those bands have been reissued, but that one, still hasn't
Not
been.
yet.
Not yet. I feel like you would have thought that like Packer would have done that on like Seal.
Yeah,
maybe
right?
I think there's some like difficulties, right? Maybe with an ex-band member or something.
Maybe so.
I don't know. But,
maybe he needs to watch this and then he'll be like, okay, I'm going to do it.
Okay. People like this record.
Oh,
they talked about it on what are you listening to? Yeah.
All right, this is going to be my my tie-in. Sorry to Matthias's last pick. He talked about Pentangle. Man, I love Pentangle like so much, especially the first album. Just dark, like folk. Okay, this is the woman I'm going to talk about. Okay, and I've kind of changed my order, so it's kind of a little bit out of sync, but it'll work. So this is the woman I'm going to talk about, but this is her in like 64, 65. This is the Marleybone Beat Girls 64 to 67. All like English pop music, almost like proto-mod music. But it's this woman that it's going to be my pick. This is Julie Driscoll on the cover in like 1965. Okay, 1965.
Wow.
Pop.
Yeah.
Super like swinging London, right? The swing 60s pop music, right? Fast forward a few years, things have changed. It's now 1969. She puts out her first. It's complicated. She has a lot of records with other people and stuff, but this is like her first solo record. It's called 1969, but it didn't come out till 1971.
Okay.
This is a Japanese pressing from 1982. But man, she's one of the best singers, man. Like, she does have that like pentangle, like Sandy Denny.
That's who I was thinking of the whole time you were talking. Yeah.
She has that. And some of the music is like that dark folk that Matthias was talking about. About half of the record is like that, and then half of it is like, and this is where you might start to lose interest. It's like rocking, like jazz rock, prog.
Wow.
But it's so okay. I was going to let this. Like, this is autumn in a record. It's like the perfect autumn record. It's beautiful. Half of it's beautiful. Her voice, she has that Sandy Denny thing going on, but she can also like belt out a song when she wants to. She has a wider range, I want to say, which is a weird thing to say. I love Sandy, and I think she's one of the best singers of all time. But Julie Driscoll has like a wider range. This is just a classic. And you know, there's some interesting things about this record. There's some really good distorted like psych guitar on the first song, and it's amazing. And I was thinking, I wonder who plays guitar on this. So, oh shit, it's Chris Spedding. Ringing any bells? Chris Spedding kind of went kind of punky in the mid-70s. And he could have been on Chisik Records, actually.
Oh, okay.
Wild in the Streets, man. Chris Spedding. Chris Spedding, like, that's his song, right? Wild in the Streets.
Oh, yeah, right on.
The Circle Jerks later covered and made the title of their album. That's a Chris Spedding song. But he was like a session musician. So he played on a lot of records.
Yeah, right on.
It's just an awesome like extra touch that I already was in love with this record. It's like, man, Chris Spedding plays guitar on this, so it's like awesome.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, right on.
But yeah, it's jazzy. It's like when it gets going, it's kind of funky and like I'm
down with funk.
Down with the funk, kind of funky, kind of groovy, but in that kind of dark autumnal like.
I'm into dark funk. That's
I don't want to.
I think that is the new genre that all these bands are gonna sound like and shit now. It's all going from like right. They're gonna be like all the post punk like bands and shit. They're all gonna start getting funkier and it's gonna be like dark funk. That's it.
Bro, you got pulse, dude.
I don't want to have hopes for this. It's
2026.
It's more folk than funk.
Okay. Well, dark folk funk.
Folk funk. But her second album or third album, I forget. It's complicated because she has a lot of different records with. She did records with like Brian Auger and like other people, and Keith Tippett was like a free jazz guy. She got married to Keith Tippett and then did some really experimental like free jazz record stuff, which I haven't got to yet. But her like second album was called Street Noise or something like that. I just wanted to tie into the street theme.
Street metal. Yeah.
All about the streets. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I know. This is my most played record. It's beautiful for this time of year. It's just like beautiful. Julie Driscoll, 1969, came out in 1971.
Yeah,
Okay, so Sandy Denny is Fairport Convention.
Yes.
Julie Driscoll is Pentangle.
No. Pentangle is another singer called Jackie.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
So where's Julie Driscoll come from?
From the UK, but like she started.
I'm trying to follow the narrative of how you got it.
Just as a solo singer. So that's why this compilation is like solo women singers from the 60s. And so she already had a pop career.
Who put out the compilation?
Beat.
Okay.
Again, it's another Beat Records thing. So it's but yeah, so she was like a pop singer who kind of branched out to like dark folk and psychedelic.
Oh, you're saying musically it kind of fits with the theme.
Yeah. But this is the Julie Driscoll on this record is like 60s swinging London pop, but the Julie Driscoll that's 4 years later is like dark folk.
She's just like, I gotta get dark and folk.
And another time, Matthias kept mentioning Donovan. The best version of Season of the Witch is done by Julie Driscoll. There's an amazing video on YouTube. Check it out.
I've heard this.
It cannot be further from this. It's like psychedelic. It's like total like early 70s LSD trip. But like that's the best version of Season of the Witch that I've heard is by Julie Driscoll.
Cool.
There you go. Dominic
checking it out. Yeah.
Dominic's heard it. It's
Dominic's on. What's up, dude?
Hey. It's funny, it's like late in the game, and I've known about like Pentangle and Sandy Denny, and I guess I kind of knew about Julie Driscoll, but it's taken me until now to finally get to it. But I'm going to be buying anything by Julie Driscoll that I see. I'm going to be buying all of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is funny though, as we were talking about all of this stuff, I was like, Dominic, who works at Sorry State, knows all about this. You know.
Okay. Nice. Now I can't get rid of the comment. Where is it? There you go. All right, Matthias, what's your next pick?
Let's do this. So early 90s was a good time because I started doing a record label, started doing a distro. It's relatively easy to get stuff from overseas and Europe, and just a lot of stuff kind of came through that distro. Like really got into bands, at that time, like Contropatere, ABC Diablo, a lot of that Bremen hardcore stuff, like all that stuff that was coming through. This band, like, I don't think it has much of like an online presence. I don't think it streams or is on Bandcamp. I spent a lot of time with this LP in the following 10-inch in the early to mid-ish 90s, I guess. And that's the Bad Influence LP.
My God.
Okay.
Wow.
New Age Witch Hunt.
Wow.
And this record, I mean, I think they even later on, so they're like a Belgian band in that, what's the venue there? Vorten and Vis or whatever. That scene, right? They played there a lot. This came out in 92 on 42 Records, but I think Skuld also did a reissue of it, or this is the 42 version distributed by Xmist. And like, I couldn't find anything on that. I thought about them like a few months ago, and I was like, oh man, I'd really like to hear that Afterbirth 10-inch again, or Afterbirth. Yeah. I couldn't find it anywhere, so I had to like go dig out my MP3s and threw them on my phone, and then I pulled out the vinyl the other day to listen to this one, and man, it's like, a lot of people compare it. It's like amoebic-y kind of, and it's slow and plodding and and it's I think it's got later. They have a member of shared a member with Zygote too, right?
It's so funny because I lived with the bass player Tim, who was in Zygote.
Oh, right.
Okay.
And then he moved to Belgium and joined Bad Influence. So
yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
So I know they had a bunch of member changes. It looked like in the beginning. I don't know exactly who's in this lineup, but like. And they actually did some stuff later. I think they put out like something around 2000 and something else around 2010. The 2010 record is called like Preaching to the Perverted. And I think it's pretty solid. I mean, like typically I wouldn't go back to a band 30 some odd years later like that and expect it to be good, but it still has rooted in that kind of dark, dismal Amoebics kind of sound. But their newer stuff maybe starts to drift into like a Blythe Power kind of like realm at times.
Wow.
But I thought it was still totally great. I mean, and like, but all this early stuff, the Afterbirth 10-inch, the 7-inch, the split with Sharon Tate's Children, I think it's all really good. And like, you know, that era of music with that sort of, you know, all kind of driven by that sort of, I guess, Amoebics kind of vibe. I think this is overlooked. I think I don't hear a lot of people talk about them.
I was gonna say that it's funny. You would have thought that like the kind of younger like crust bands of today who are into Amoebics.
I mean, this looks like an anti-schism or a subvert
or
LP
anti-sect.
or something.
Or anti-sect. No, it's like I remember seeing him like, is this like an anti-sect record or whatever? Like like some new like record of a live set or some shit.
But it's
and I think even
they would get, like, name checked a bit more in the current crop of like younger bands that are into Amoebics.
I just think it's kind of like there's just bands that, you know, now like even bands that were popular at a time or whatever, like that it just hasn't caught on with certain bands haven't caught on with people now. So it's kind of like even, and you know, I think it's because we have access to every piece of recorded music ever and stuff. And so it's like, you know, even if like something that people might like or whatever, because they're not kind of pushed in that direction to check it out, they might not, you know about it, or even, you know, I just think there's a lot of bands that have kind of gotten forgotten because of whatever reason, you know.
You know, I think what drew me to these types of bands too is that, you know, like that plotting kind of angst versus like a blast beat or a D beat or anything else that like lots of bands were doing. Like it's kind of a little mobby at times, and like it's just dark, and there's like a gray cloud that just sort of hangs over this type of music, so it's like almost like depressive anarcho-punk or something. But like, I mean, I've always really liked
being an anarcho-punk, so it's like, you know,
as opposed to the 1965 anarcho-pop pop,
that was more like swinging, the swinging 60s anarcho.
That stuff was much chiller.
I think that
record,
go ahead.
I'm glad I brought this back out, because I listened to that. I think I probably got the Afterbirth 10-inch first. I listened to that a lot, and then picked this up somewhere along the way. And it's not a record that, you know, I've ever had digitally or on CD or on an MP3 player. It's like something I've always had to go back to vinyl for. So like it kind of gets lost in the shuffle sometimes, you know, and like, but I got it back out maybe like a month ago and put it in my going to listen to this because it's good. You know, I went and found it on YouTube or whatever to remind myself that, I got to listen to that again. So, great record. Again, probably, I don't know if it ever will see digital release. Their 2010 or whatever it is, 2011 record is on Bandcamp, but that's all I could find. So,
I didn't even realize they did a 2010.
Me neither. I didn't even know that until I was looking around like a couple weeks ago when I was first listening to this record, seeing if I could find it to get the MP3s or whatever. But like,
maybe if they created more content, I would know about it. But you know, create enough content.
They do have a Facebook page. Like I was when I looked them up, I was like,
oh,
they actually have
a dance or something.
Yeah.
That's wow. That brought back a lot of memories. I think like younger crusties might have their minds blown if they've never heard that record. Because
it's great. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I love Amoebics, but I was never like Amoebics is my band kind of guy. Like, but
it took me a long time.
I probably listened to this more than I listened to Amoebics back in those days. Like, I don't know, it just hit me. And like some of that other stuff, like I was saying, like ABC Diablo and Contrepateri and stuff, like we're all just like,
well, that's
I got it in the distro, I kept a copy for myself, and like I was just like, this shit's amazing. Like, and you know,
like ABC Diablo are more like straightforward, you know, like I don't know, like it wasn't like
Yeah, it wasn't the music slug.
You know, like it was, you know, like faster and you know, had more drive to it, I guess.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. But just all that stuff that was coming in from Belgium and Germany and you know, wherever at that time, that I don't even remember where I was getting that stuff from for distro, but I was doing a lot of trading and like, you know, you could back then you could ship 20 records to the US for $8 or whatever.
Right.
So
Right.
you know,
And we took stamps back as well.
Yeah. And those 2 years, the 92, 93 or 93, 94 tours, we took really big distros with us on the road just to try to like make money and get gas and stuff. And all that stuff came from there, or I would, so that was perfect time for all that stuff to show up, and it's good to revisit it.
Cool. All right, Ebro, what's your?
All right. Just 1 minute. too much. All right. So this just turned 34 the other day, and so I've been rocking it. So it's the second Tribe Called Quest LP, The Low in Theory. This is one of my favorite hip hop records or whatever. This is the promo version that, like, in the US, it was not released on vinyl. They only did this, and it was fucking impossible to find, and it took me forever to find one. But I found one for like $10. It took a very, very long time before, you know, because it was like it would go to DJs and go to, like, you know, they used to have like those record I forgot what they used to call them or whatever, but like basically it was like a record club kind of thing where it was like it would go to certain people and you had to know someone to be able to even fucking get it. But this is a fucking classic record. Speaking of jazz, it's like one of the kind of like first, you know, jazzier like hip hop records that actually had actual jazz, you know, musicians on it or whatever, Ron Carter and stuff, and it's a fucking amazing record. I don't know, like it basically so the promo version, it's weird because it has like a different track listing and they switch it up. So I also have, like, I found this double LP version of it that's just also like I think a promo of it or whatever too. But like this is how it actually, when I got the CDs and shit. Yeah, DJ Pool. That's it. Right. And then like that's how I always listen to it, and also the tape and shit. So but yeah, no, it's a great fucking record. It's like classic, still sounds great now. I saw them live several times. They were always like fucking great. RIP Five Dog. Basically, it's just like, yeah, like
my fellow funky diabetic, dude.
What's that?
My fellow funky diabetic, dude.
Yeah, right. Yeah, definitely. But like it was we ended up seeing, my wife and I saw, I guess it may be because they when Five was sick, they recorded one last album that came out, which is actually very good as well. And he passed away, and they did some shows when that came out, but it was all mainly festivals, except they played it at Red Rocks in Denver, Colorado, which I've never, you know, I've been to Denver before, but I've never gone to Red Rocks. So like my wife and I were just like, fuck it, let's go. And so we went, and it was like, you know, sold out. There was 10,000 people there just for them. It wasn't a festival, but it was like a big show just for them. And they were basically like, you know, they did the songs. They had like a mic stand and a mic, and a spotlight would come on and play Five's parts or whatever, that he wasn't there to perform. But like that was, you know, like it was fucking heavy. You know, it was like, but they sounded so great, and they were like, I guess had a couple like festival shows after that, and they're just like, this show was so amazing, we're not playing again. It's like, you know, like this touched us, and we're not gonna, you know, this is how it should be, and that was it or whatever. So, you know, so yeah, I saw them when they first started, and saw them later on or whatever, but they were always great. Yeah, I don't know how to like even really put into words, but that like Low in Theory is like one of my favorite records. It's just really catchy, just fucking great record. So
yeah, I've always like the only one I have is Midnight Marauders. That's the one
Midnight Marauders is also amazing. Yeah,
I've been hooked on it for years. I haven't listened to Low End Theory in a long time, but I should revisit.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, throw it on, man. It's like, you know, like Excursions, like the first song, like at that Red Rock show, to hear 10,000 people fucking rapping along to that, you know, it's like that opening bass line and like the first words, it was fucking pretty mind blowing or whatever. It was really cool. So yeah, but yeah, that was heavy. It's a great record. Throw it on again.
All right, Jeff.
All right, so yeah, I don't know. It's kind of funny. Like you had some Canadians on a couple weeks ago. You know,
Graham from Homefront.
Yeah. So when, like, first of all, Graham is like, what a charming lad he is. You know,
he's so
and he's funny as fuck. But I was stoked that he showed this Down syndrome record.
Yeah,
and like I love this record. I think it's like little sleeper gem of, you know, Canadian hardcore. You know, and it got me thinking about like what other like sort of I mean, people know this record, but it's sort of like, to me, still kind of like unsung in many ways, you know. And I know you talked about their sort of a reunion record, you know, but I just want to talk about the Unruled 7-inch.
Oh, yeah, that's a good record too. Yeah,
I mean, to me, like especially amongst like sort of like my little group of like sort of we call this like the Southern hardcore punk metal freaks. Like, we love this record, you know. It's like just 3 songs, you know. It's like self-titled, or like some people call it Time Is Running Out, you know. It's and it's like the first song kind of opens with like the kind of blitzy kind of thing. That's why I always say, like, you know, that like classic sort of like new agey kind of thing or whatever. But then like when they launch into like the hardcore, it's just like, it's so raging but catchy at the same time, you know. And I think they probably like, they had to be one of the few, like, it was Graham joked about how like Down syndrome kind of has the Discharge influence or whatever, but stylistically he's like, oh, they still got that hillbilly style though. whereas Unruled, like, they had the charged hair, they had the whole thing going on.
They had the
like,
look.
It looks like a UK band for sure. But to me, one of the things that's like, I don't know, it's so funny, like that reunion record, it's cool, you know, but I think like one of the things that's so special about this record is the drumming. You know, and it's this guy Louis, maybe he's Montreal, so it might be Louis, you know. But like, he does this kind of like on the song Force Mistake, he does this kind of like double kicky kind of intro thing or whatever. And I think he was also the same drummer from Genetic Control also. And I just like think he's a ripping drummer. And when you hear the reunion record, they redo the EP songs, which is cool, but it's just like, maybe they shouldn't have touched it. You know?
Yeah. I think. Well, I think I remember them doing a reunion record, but it's like, did they do like an LP? I don't remember.
Yeah, it's got like half of Inepsy like playing on it, right?
Oh yeah, that was like, all right, okay.
Yeah, so it's like the drummer and the singer like bailed out and got replaced by the dudes from Inepsy. And they did a pretty good job. Like, it's cool, you know. It's like, you know, but the funny thing about that intro to that one song, so like, because I know that the Direct Control dudes loved Unruled on this record, you know, I don't know if this is funny to talk about, but the first song, Brandon, like right when it kicks in, you know, Brandon plays drums on this record, all Canadian band. And I don't know if in Brandon's mind, he's like, I'm playing on a Canadian record, I'm going to do my little tribute here. But he does this part and it sounds just like the part in the Unruled song. And I have to wonder if that was his little nod or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Maybe. Yeah.
Hey, Martin Farkas is coming on in a few weeks. We'll ask him.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Martin's a great guy, and with Tony Urba, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Urba and Martin are, you know, great dudes. So.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, Unruled, fucking classic, you know.
You can definitely like, you can't. I thought it was just cool that like half of Inepsy, because you can hear like Inepsy obviously very influenced by that record.
Yeah, you know them being like, that's their like hometown heroes. You know, they were so stoked to be a part of that and everything.
Yeah. All right. Okay, I changed my order, so I'm a little bit out of sync, but it'll work. So, okay, going back to the Big Beat compilations. I've showed this before. It's the Japanese pop comps, which I love. I've talked about this before, but I didn't realize until recently that there's a whole bunch of others. And I showed one of the UK ones there's a couple of, there's a Swedish one, like 60s, 70s, all women or pop or female pop singers. There's an Eastern European one, which I really want to get, but that's the hardest one to find, maybe for a reason. There's 2 French ones. There's 2 Italian ones. And I think there's another one. But the one that I just got, and I think it's the Japanese is still my favorite. The Japanese one is still my favorite. But this one's going to come in at a close second. Spain.
I knew it.
This one, Beat Girls Espanol.
Right.
And this is all totally new to me, so I can't tell everybody too much about this. I just know that I've been having a great time listening to this. I want to listen to this not by myself. It's like I feel like I should be listening to this with a group of people, not by myself. In a more of a party.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's just every song is just like super upbeat and catchy. And obviously, it's funny because like half of the liner notes they do go into like the Spanish Civil War.
Yep.
Franco. Half the liner notes gone about it, and then suddenly we had pop music. And like
Well,
right?
it's funny because that would have been created under Franco's dictatorship or whatever. So it's it would have been music being produced with that, but also there was around that time, like in the 60s, they did try to kind of frame it like, oh, the beaches and come, because I think they were, Spain was so isolated from the rest of the world for a long time because of that motherfucker. And so they tried to kind of open that up to people to be like, oh yeah, come spend money here or whatever. Like, it's
It's kind of saying that like towards the late 60s, they kind of, getting a bit like looser and then, this.
Well, that too. Also, the censorship and the like there's a bunch of like crazy ass like horror movies and stuff that came out around that time.
You know what? There's a woman on this who, man, I think is it Marisol, who she was in a bunch of horror movies.
Okay,
she has a song on this record.
Yeah, right on. Yeah.
I mean, this is all totally new to me. I just love it. It's got all the picture sleeves. Man, it's just so joyful, and especially when like the political situation, and like it's much less like schmaltzy than the British equivalent from the 60s. Of course, I guess the most famous song is the Spanish language version of "Get Off My Cloud" by the Rolling Stones.
Right on. Yeah, that's cool.
Which was probably a big hit, but just really great version. And every now and again, I was like, man, this record does kind of give me like Eurovision Song Contest vibes, back in the 60s. And then when I looked up, it's like, one song, one of the women on this did actually win the Eurovision Song.
Right on. That's funny. Yeah.
Man, it's so interesting to listen to pop music from a country that, you didn't grow up in or you're not familiar with. And obviously, it's like taken from American pop and British pop and Motown and stuff, but with this like Spanish,
flair to it, right? And also, I mean, I guess also filtered through that because it's not like it was easily consumed like that. It's like it wasn't the same as as easy to get as I'm sure it was in England and other countries or whatever. So, but I think Spain definitely adds, like, especially with that. It's like, but like in terms of their music and the way it just there is an added flair to the way the music is done.
It's fascinating. I'm totally fascinated by stuff. And there's a couple of labels, Zafiro and Hispanivox. Okay, we should like push women more and like into the pop scene and the music scene. And I guess a lot of these 7-inch singles come out on those 2 labels, like back in the day. But it's cool, man. You get like there's some fuzz guitar, there's some like Hammond organ and stuff, and like it's not garage punk, obviously, but it just has that great like 60s, like freaking 60s pop is the best, man. It's like
I want to check this compilation out. It's cool. But I knew when you were saying like it's like it's one of my favorites. I'm like it's probably Spain.
And big records or Ace Records.
Wow.
And they always have like really great liner notes, and they're always really well done. But there you go. Beat Girls Espanol, 1960s she-pop from Spain.
Right. Sounds cool.
It's great. It's just great stuff. You can't be in a bad mood when listening to a record like this. All right, Matthias, what's your
last pick? All right, I'll go back to my tie-in from the very, very beginning. Let's see if I can.
I've been waiting for that. Yes.
Let's see if I can remember this right now, because now we're up to our long distance dedication. This one's about kids and pets in a situation we can all understand, whether we have kids or pets or neither. 1991. This is a amazing record, but it's also an amazing story and lawsuit and everything else. So it's the Negative Lands U2 12-inch.
That's a wild fucking record, man.
Yeah, I love this record so much. Like, it was a total novelty when you first heard it. I mean, I love Negative Land. Like, they're one of my favorite art projects, I guess, or however you want to call them, of all time. This, you know, this is just, I mean, mixtape gold, like much like the Crispin Helene Glover record I showed last time I was on here. But yeah, I mean, the story behind it is incredible. Island record, U2 suing SST and Negative Land to the point where they had to settle out of court. I don't know, like, I mean, they did that book and CD thing, the Fair Use, the letter U and the numeral 2, like later on, where they told those stories. I think there's a documentary too about it also. But you know, of course, this is Casey Kasem's greatest hit ever. Also, like him swearing and getting pissed off about these guys are from England and who gives a shit and all that stuff. I mean, it's just fucking genius the way they did this. And like, you know, the way Mark Hostler put it before he passed, he did a couple of great discussions about this record. And he basically, you know, they knew what they were doing, that they wanted to create confusion at the moment of consumption. Because U2, Octung Baby was coming out like 3-4 months after this. And that's what they got sued for, was trademark and copyright and all of that. And then later they did that interview with Mondo magazine, where they interviewed Edge about the Zoo tour, where they were kind of like sampling all this like commercial stuff. And they brought 2 of the Negative Land guys in to do the interview, but they didn't tell them they were the Negative Land guys until like halfway through the interview. It's just genius. And like, but yeah, I mean, this record is just a great anomaly, a great story, a great kind of, you know, like the Weatherman kind of doing his freeform, like rambling over the top of like, you know, I still haven't found what I'm looking for being played on kazoo. Is just like, it's just wild shit, you know. And I'll get my RIP in, Rip Snuggles, the dog who dies on this this record. So, but yeah, I mean, I've gone back, you know, after Mark Hostler passed away, like they've done some things. They did a great NPR Tiny Desk concert over COVID. Super great.
Yeah, I didn't think I even realized they did that. That's crazy.
And this record, The World Will Decide. So they put out 2 records like in the last like few years.
Yeah, I didn't even realize. Yeah,
man, there's a song on here called "Don't Get Freaked Out." That is just, I fucking love it so much. The video, like, look it up on YouTube. I love everything about it. But yeah, both of these are double LPs, and they're like fucking great. So like, to me, they're just like a boundary pushing band. Like the Dyspepsy album to me is pure genius. Like I wouldn't lump them in the same world as Devo, but they did something so fucking unique and unlike anything else that ever happened, that they're just in a world all by themselves. And the respect I have for that is, I can't even describe it. Right. So,
well, and fucking with the conventions of what, you know, at the like, I mean, you know, now it's slightly different, but it's like, even then, I guess just like fucking with the whole conventions of how radio is and music was produced and all that shit. So it's like in like Devo in that sense or whatever, like in terms of like, you know, I guess fucking with conventions and stuff, you know.
But I can remember having a feeling when I was a kid, like, and you know, I think it started with religion, but it quickly moved into advertising, where I felt, and pop music and everything else, where I felt like I can't get this shit out of my throat because they keep shoving it down my throat.
Right.
Everywhere I go, I know the jingle to that product, and I know that billboard is falling on top of me. And like, I felt really suffocated by that for a long time. And like, Negative Land was the band that spoke to that to me. It was just like all that sort of, or maybe a little bit in the Black Flag sort of like crass commercialism kind of era, like that stuff. I was like, yeah, fuck this stuff, like in the way they push the boundaries in terms of like fair use and copyright, where they're saying like, if you're going to bury me with this, then I get to do whatever the fuck I want with it, because and like, yeah, I love it. And this record is a bit of a novelty, but it's so good. And like, you have to listen to it. You have to read the story about it. It's quite unlike anything that's ever happened in music. And it's trolling before the internet, like it is master trolling before the internet, and like, great. And like, this is the irony here is like, oh, you named your band after something that already existed. So,
right.
Like,
right.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know anything about this.
Explain it to him.
It sounds super interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
So this is a cover of, I still haven't found what I'm looking for, where they sample some of U2's song directly, but they also just mock it relentlessly. And then it's
anything where people are mocking U2, I'm all for it.
In between it, there are all these outtakes of Casey Kasem introducing U2 in a long distance dedication about a dog named Snuggles that had died, but he keeps fucking it up and swearing up a storm. And he's all like, who the fuck are these guys? They're from England and nobody gives a shit. And like, he's just like fucking up a storm, and he gets super mad. I got to come out of a fucking death dedication. And like, it's incredible. It's the greatest thing. I love Scooby-Doo, but it's better than a Shaggy. You know what I mean? Like, the greatest awesome. Casey Kasem. And he tried to sue him too, but he backed off.
Oh yeah.
He never actually sued them. And it was just, I think SST sued him and Island sued them and SST, but yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild if you can calm out, like read like the whole story with all this shit. It's pretty fucking crazy. So yeah, I recommend that or whatever, and hearing the record because it's funny too. But the whole thing is just funny.
I am sure in the chat there before major labels started hardcore cracking down on sampling, this got pressed, I think, at like Rainbow. And I'm sure is responsible for a lot of like those 90s like record labels going, we can't press it, it's got a sample on it.
Really? Okay.
Well, that and Beastie Boys.
Yeah, Paul's Boutique.
Was like, which is like insane the amount of samples that whatever.
Yeah.
Soul too, 3 Feet High and Rising. Like,
oh yeah, well yeah, I mean 3, but it's like that. I mean, well, basically most hip hop shit like came out in the late 80s or whatever. But no, in terms of like, like Paul's Boutique in terms of like every little piece. Yeah, how much.
Paul's Boutique is definitely the most insane one, right? For just the amount of like stuff that they sampled.
Yeah.
Incredible, absolutely incredible.
Yeah, no, it's still an amazing record.
Classic, absolute classic.
Yeah.
All right, Ebro, it's the last pick.
Last pick, and this just kind of like I needed. It's been kind of rough lately, so I needed something to fucking, give me a kick in the ass. And this is something I've loved for a long time. So the first Uniform Choice LP, Screaming for Change, is a fucking classic.
Let's all say the poem together. Just the poem. I just listened to the poetry, the last song, or whatever. But no, it's just, just fucking use your head into my own mind or whatever. Just the first 2 songs like that, just like Use Your Head especially, just fucking still fucking blows me away when I listen to it. And it's like that's just a great fucking hardcore record or whatever. People said, oh, they were a derivative of Minor Threat, but so it's still a good fucking record. It's like it, and also too,
there's 2 good straight edge records that sound like Minor Threat, basically, and then that's it. You know what I mean? So like, I'll pick another one. It's fine.
Right. But it's kind of like, it's just, you know, like when I think of fucking hardcore, it's a hardcore record or whatever, you know. It's like it's raw.
That record, it just like it jumps off the fucking turntable. Like,
yeah.
So much energy to it.
Yeah.
And also, like, I'm not a straight edge person, but it's like the iconic like t-shirts, man. I always wanted like one of those like straight alert t-shirts.
Yeah. No, they had the fucking merch game down or whatever. It's like those shirts were fucking great. You know, I still have mine or whatever, and I can still fit into it kind of. So it's like, you know, it you know, I just think it's like they were everything about them. And then when they started to go more like trying to be like the Cult or something like that, it was a little like, all right,
towards mind funk.
Well, yeah, and then it went even further, and then Corporate Avenger and shit. But this record, yeah, oh God, yeah. But this is a fucking classic, and it's like
absolutely,
yeah. And you know, I think the thing is that they came from, you know, a time and a scene where it was like all different types of people were into this shit. It wasn't like, oh, this is only for straight edge kids or this is only for whatever. It was like they were coming from the punk scene, you know, in Southern California and shit. And it's like that's the shows that they played. And so I think all different types of people were into it. And it's kind of like that's how it should be. It shouldn't be like, oh, you know, we're only, you know, there's always been fucking sub-scenes and shit, but it's like, you know, in the 80s a lot of the shows were just fucking everyone together. They might not have got along, but they all fucking were going to the same shit, you know. Now it's like, now we've got fucking, we've got 20 people going to the straight edge show, right? Like, and then people in the Crush show and people in, you know, like, I don't know, it's just, it's fucking hardcore. So
I have a question actually, because I probably could look this up, but you know, Unity, right? It's the uniform choice.
Yep.
That's confusing because you get like the Blood Days record, but that was like
so
re-recorded.
Yeah, well, so okay, so the Unity 7-inch came out before Screaming for Change.
Okay.
And basically, like Unity was another band that had like, so the drummer from Uniform Choice, not the original drummer, but the dude who joined later, Pat Longree, he was in Unity and then got Pat Dubar, the singer from Uniform Choice, to sing on the Unity 7-inch.
Okay.
And then which the Unity 7-inch is fucking amazing. I love, that's another record I throw on and just fucking like it like makes me want to fucking destroy things or whatever. So it's like that is still great. They basically they in the late 80s they put, because like the Unity 7-inch came out in like 85, I think. This came out in 86. Then 88 was when Staring Into the Sun, the second Uniform Choice LP came out, and then Blood Days came out in 89, I think. And it was basically they took the music from the songs on the first 7-inch. I don't remember if all of them are on it or not, but then Pat Dubar sang on it again, but with his fucking pitch transposed vocals, you know, where he's like singing or whatever. And it's like it's cool. And then there's some newer songs on it. It's cool, but it's not as good as like the original.
Right.
But,
that's another one of those confusing things that, because back in the day you kind of get all the stuff together in one go on a tape with no context, and you'd be like, what the hell is going on with this?
Yeah, well, right, because it's like, it's like probably, you know, like if you had compared Screaming for Change in the Unity 7-inch to fucking
Blood Days.
Blood Days and
that shit bummed me out, man. That early Wishing Well scene, when all that stuff came out, like all those bands came to Detroit, like there was a shop in Ann Arbor that carried all the LPs and all the t-shirts. They got, I don't know, they had to look up, and like I don't remember if I saw it was probably like the 88 tour of Uniform Choice. So right as Staring at the Sun was coming out.
Yeah.
I disliked that album so much. I disliked the Unity LP a ton. In fact, I think that was a record my friend Bill and I put it on, and I opened up my upstairs window and just threw it into the yard.
Look,
Yeah.
the thing is, like,
so like that was so good, but it was over with like before I finished blinking. Like all of a sudden, I was like, why isn't Uniform Choice good anymore? What the hell happened here?
Yeah, well, to be honest, I think it's like being close to LA. It's kind of like there was bands in New York and bands in LA. Probably again, like I was talking about in terms of like being media centers and shit. You're like, oh, I can fucking maybe make a career out of this or whatever. And then so it's like, okay, I'm gonna grow my hair long, wear cowboy boots and shit.
But
and
to me,
whatever.
like even like that Uniform Choice record does have a little bit of a Sunset Strip, like surfer minor.
Yeah,
it has a kind of feeling to it. Like, it's great.
Well, no, I mean, I think the thing is that like, again, they were probably like, I'm sure the shows they were playing were gigantic, you know, like because they, you know, like Fenders was big, and then like fucking whatever that auditorium or whatever, the Olympic and shit was huge. It was like thousands and thousands of people would go to these shows. So it was a different experience, I'm sure. So that probably also feeds into ideas or whatever. But you know, it's kind of like that like they could still be playing now and putting out terrible music, but this record fucking it'll until I die, this will be a fucking amazing amazing hardcore punk record.
I love
it. It was a super important record for me in high school. I loved it.
It just was like, and I think most people that even people that weren't into the straight edge thing or whatever, like fucking dug it. It's, you know, it's just a good fucking record, you know.
I like it too.
I love it. If anyone out there's holding an XL like Uniform Choice t-shirt, let me know in the comments. I've been after
spend some money, dude.
Bootleg is fine. I don't care.
Well, no, so they do. There are like, you know, like newer versions of it, like like an original one is
doesn't have to be an original.
Yeah.
All right, last pick of the day, Jeff. What's it?
All right. Well, so I don't know. Like, I think the topic of like the dreaded term power pop has come up a few times on Analog Attack, Mike.
Yes.
And I don't know, like I go through bouts where like I really like crave that stuff, you know, almost to the point where it's like, am I okay? What's wrong with me? You know, but like I've been jamming this compilation, this Power Pearls compilation.
Volume 2.
So here's the thing. So like I had volume 1, 2, and I ended up gifting it to somebody, and like they're kind of like, I don't know if like they're blocked on Discogs or not, but it's like, you know, they're definitely, this is surely a bootleg. It's like a white label kind of deal or whatever. But I think there's something about the listening experience of that I really like. Like I sort of almost like yearn for sort of like when a friend would give you like a mixtape and like maybe they hand wrote the names of the tracks or whatever, but like kind of like when you throw this on, it's like you kind of go in blind. Like the singles are on the back, you know, with these like tiny little pixelated things, you know, so it doesn't really like color your sort of interpretation of the songs. It's like, it's sort of like you still hear them like without any sort of any like pretense or like sort of like judgment based on what the band looks like or whatever, you know. So I'm like, and I think that's really cool because then you just sort of like hear these songs you've never heard before, and they're, you know, they just like hit you in a way that's like different than when you know exactly what you're throwing on. But there are a bunch of songs I know on it, you know. It's like, so like the Moderns are right on the front, and then it's like it's got a Teen Line by the Shivers. It's a great track, you know. It's got a Protect song on it, you know. It's even got like some Finnish bands, like it's got like Kola Kesta and Ratsia on it. But then like the songs that I didn't know are just like just sort of like cool little moments, you know. And like I hate to even like look to see what like to track down an actual copy of the single or whatever, you know. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just a sucker, man. Yeah, it's like give me like this sort of like that like sort of era from like the 70s, early 80s or whatever, of like those kind of songs. Like the thing is like there's like a lot of like sort of like hardcore stuff that like if it's like sort of primitive and not well done, I still kind of like it, you know, because it's just like raw and raging or whatever. And with power pop, it's like there's a lot of stinkers out there, man.
Yeah, you know? Yeah. It's a and also anything. I think record store owners have like sort of learned if they sort of put power pop on there, it might sell, whereas before it wouldn't have sold. But it's just like this very tepid like 70s pop record, which has like one good song on it.
Exactly.
we call it. a lost power pop like gem.
Right. It's like, it's like, and I bet like, you know, like when you even get into like the sort of the 7th and 8th, there's tons of these, you know, like I bet like it might be kind of diminishing returns or whatever, but I don't know. For me, it's just like I just love this stuff.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for it too. I know.
So I just thought I'd end the show with something kind of like a little bit sweeter, maybe even a little bit.
We need some sweetness in this room. So
yeah, can't hurt. That's for sure.
Right.
I was gonna say something. I forgot what I was gonna say, but yeah, you're. I mean, I just like that you showed Volume 2. I like that.
You know what? It's like it's got a lot of really good like. Okay, so the one track that really stands out to me is this band called the Invertebrats. I'm pretty sure it's Brats because it's like a hyphen, you know, and then the E is gone. You know, it's like the track by them is like, mwah, you know. So that's my one. That's the one I'll throw out there. You know,
how many?
Like, I'm going to sort of recommend, like I talked about, like Chris Spedding doing the fuzz guitar on that Julie Driscoll record. I feel like his records from like the mid 70s are really great, like good power pop with like heavy guitar. Especially the Hurt album, Chris Spedding Hurt. I'm gonna actually re-buy that because I was checking out earlier, and it's really good, like really good. Like power pop.
Absolutely listen to it. You know?
Yeah.
How many volumes are there?
Like 18.
At least 8.
Hey, yeah.
The really good one though.
A lot of power pearls.
It's like the yellow is it Yellow Pills comp, which is like CD only, right? That's a really good series too.
Is that like the 2020 song? Is that what?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
But that was like a kind of, I think it was a bootleg series that came out like back in the. That's old now, right? I remember that being like a really good primer for like old like power pop, like 20 years ago.
Okay, cool. Now I got to track those down too, I guess.
I think they're CD only. I think, but
okay. That's all right.
All right, there we have it. What a great episode that
before
was.
Before we're done,
all right.
Did you get a lip cream tracksuit?
You know what? I had.
Did you?
Yeah. You know what?
You did.
Wait a minute. I had one. Actually,
you had one
in my shopping cart.
Yeah. What the fuck?
But then I realized that it was too small. Too small for me.
But
I did get like the normal.
I need to get it close to the edge shirt. That's ill. Yeah.
This is like the regular blue, and I got I got a tie dye. I
saw a tie dye one too. I need to get that.
The tie dye sold out like super quickly. But
with the tracksuit, I thought you were going to be like, tune in next week. You know,
right. See me clad.
That's the new show. What are you wearing? And it's like, it's all, like lip cream tracksuits and shit. And like, this is. Believe me, that's
what costume changes do happen. You know, I've seen
it. Right. Oh, I'm going to get a drink, and then you come back and you wear lip cream tracksuit and shit.
Jaja, the lip cream vocalist, is going all out on the merch. He's like, no.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know.
Like, the fact that retirement fans, the other main members of the band of deceased, I can do what I want now.
Hey, I'm fucking like. If I can get one, I'm fucking getting one. So
by the time you get to tracksuits, you are all over the place on merch.
And skate shoes, skate decks, like
I saw the shoes, I get the shoes, some tracksuits and shit. Yeah.
It's I draw the line. Just a t-shirt is where
I. All
right. I'm gonna say happy birthday to Roger from Argentina again, in case he's just tuning in.
Yeah,
right now.
It's cool play because this took so long. He probably is just waking up now. So
double dose of happy birthday to Roger from Argentina. There's no show next week because I've got to go to a school sports day. But we'll be back.
Yeah, a tracksuit would actually probably look very good.
Now I have a purpose to get the tracksuit. Now that
exactly. If you didn't need a reason to before.
I'm going to attend the sports day. I should be. I was thinking of the cream, the brown.
Yeah, there's the cream. I like the light blue, the brown.
Collect them all.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Right.
We'll be back in 2 weeks for another free for all. Stay tuned for more information about the show in 2 weeks. It'll be out there on the internet. So we're gonna sign off for now. Thanks for tuning in. It's a great show, as always. Stay healthy. Stay
Stay clean.
stay clean. Stay